This will pave way for the 4 p.m. kickoff between Impala, Saracens and Nondis over at the KCB Sports Club in Rfuea. It's KCB against Mean Machine at the Kakamega Showground in Kakamega County. Kabras Sugar, the current league leaders, play against newly promoted Menengai Oilers, while at the Jamhuri Park Showground, it is Homeboys against Kenyatta University's Black Blood, while over at the Strathmore University grounds in Madaraka, it is the home side, Strathmore Leos, who sit bottom of the table, winless after 5 matches, up against Mwamba RFC. We will be updating you with the scores from these fixtures later on. Any moment from now, we're going into the coaches' interviews, and Charles Kadovilis gets us underway with his interview.
Happy New Year to you too. It's a good break. Boys came back re-energized. We've had 4 sessions since the break, and it's been really good, really competitive. Good to see the energy, and looking forward to a good first game.
First match rugby this year, you guys facing Nakuru, tough team as well. 5th against 6th. How big is this one?
4th against 5th. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. You know, playing what you call your contenders, guys, for the playoffs and semis and so on and so forth. So Nakuru are definitely a contender, and we're looking to win so that we can build a gap between them and us, and try and cement our position in the playoff positions earlier rather than later, so that it's not desperate times. Yeah, but so we're looking forward to a good game. Always good brothers of ours from Nakuru. We've had some good battles in the past, and I'm looking forward to another one today.
You finished off the first half of the season very strongly with a win against Nondis. How ready are you guys for this second half of the season? This is the final lap now.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we came back. We've come back really strong. I mean, boys are really energized. The camp was full. Boys are fighting for positions. And if we were just watch the Eric Shirley game, and if that was a reflection of what we've got to do, because we've got some really good players also in the Eric Shirley side who are not making it into the Kenya Cup side. So competition for places is really stiff, and that's what we're looking to create, and that only makes us a better team. So we're definitely ready and raring to go, and we'll start with today, a game at a time.
Awesome. Good luck, coach.
Thank you very much.
Charles Kadovilis, the Queens head coach, just giving his sentiments. Any moment now, Mitch Ochola, Charles Kadovilis' former Kenya Sevens international teammate, currently coaching Nakuru RFC, is back for his interview.
We had a good rest. I think everyone had that. We are back for the 6th game of the season, and we are ready to go.
In terms of preparations, what are some of the things you've done that you think will change how you approach this second half of the season? Because this is the final lap now, coach.
Well, for us, I think the thing that's guiding us is what we set out going forward, which is basically to make the playoffs. So some of the things we did is look for a bit of maturity in the side, a bit of solid heads so that you can go on in terms of experience, a bit of mental stuff, because I think mental toughness is one of the things that Nakuru are not able to do, and it'll be good to see whether they actually do what we have planned. Also had a camp, and I think the boys are good and ready to go.
You finished the first half of the season very strongly with the win against Mean Machine. You're facing an equally strong side today. It's 4th against 5th. How big is this one in terms of getting that playoff place?
Well, Queens are championship side. Nakuru, I think, are trying to get back to where we were. Finishing 7th last year wasn't good enough for us. So we're picking up ourselves and ready to go. So mine is basically take a game at a time. Queens is what we have on the plate today. I think perfect weather conditions. Boys are well prepared. Basically 80 minutes and see where we are.
All right. Thank you so much, coach. All the best.
Thank you.
RFC coach, his side currently lying 6th on the log and looking to consolidate their push for a berth in the playoffs later on this season. Queens, on the other hand, sitting comfortable in 4th place, and if proceedings were to end this afternoon, they would be in contention for the playoffs. But as it so stands, this match is still a big one for them. But they've won 3 matches and lost 2 of their defeats coming against the Menengai Oilers and KCB. As we just catch a glimpse of the weather, the sun is out and in full color here at the Rfuea ground. 26 degrees Celsius, 13% humidity, wind speeds estimated at about 30 kilometers per hour. Probably will affect the kickers. Let's just catch a glimpse of the teams lining up in the tunnel. Nakuru in the predominantly black and green strip, while Kenya Harlequin in the quartered shirts. The players yet to emerge from the tunnel, as you just see some members of the Kenya Harlequins second string just looking to give their senior colleagues a guard of honor. And joining me in the commentary booth, seeing him for the first time in about 6 months, is Hilary Teller. Hilary, welcome to Bumper Sports Live Commentary, and what a way to get the season back on track after that break for the festive.
Thank you very much,
season.
Mike. I'm not so certain whether it's cliche. Happy New Year. 11 or 12 days into the year already. Match day 6, promising a lot of action. Kenya Harlequins finishing up very strongly the year in 2018 with a very emphatic win against Nondis. Nakuru, on the other hand, have been having a very not so, what can I call it? It's been a Jekyll and Hyde sort of season for them, Mike.
Yes, it has, and they really need to get into a level of consistency if they are to challenge for a place in the playoffs at the close of the regular season. As you just catch a glimpse of both sides, Nakuru being led out by the old faithful Edwins Makori, while leading out Kenya Harlequin is Peter Misango. Nakuru, as mentioned earlier, in the predominantly black and green strip. Kenya Harlequin in the quartered shirts. And lining up for Kenya Harlequin is Brian Oboya, Frank Kalwale, Paul Kioko, Hilary Baraza, Michael Onsando, Patrice Agunda, Herman Humwa, Peter Misango, the captain, Dominic Osino, Eden Agero, Aluda Beda, Alex Olaba, David Ambunya, Idi Kaikai, and Laila Siligo. And, just looking at that inclusion of Patrice Agunda, he's played all season at flank. What do you think of that positional move?
I think perhaps it might be trying to just get on to the reality check. Patrice has been a stalwart for Kenya Harlequins for well over a decade. In your picture there momentarily, the man with the beard almost looked like a younger version of Santa Claus. I'm not so certain whether he's got any gifts to deliver early this year. George Scott Oloch, Uganda international, has actually played in Kenya before for Mwamba. Tatene hiatus, he comes back, and interestingly making his debut for Kenya Harlequins off the bench.
Yes, he is a close season signing from the Rhinos in Uganda's Premiership.
Did actually manage to grab a bit of action early in December, Rhinos and Buffaloes. Rhinos just having all the bulk, having Marshall Chutam, George Scott Oloch, losing out to Buffaloes, and perhaps that loss, a very emphatic loss in the early part of December, could have been one of the things that perhaps just got George Scott Oloch on the... Interestingly, you may probably call it on the wrong side of 30, still playing and looking quite fit, and maybe deciding or yearning for a bit more quality action across the board and coming back home.
Indeed, as we see both sides just having a feel of the ball. This is Kenya Harlequin bracing to get it underway. It is Eden Agero, represented Kenya Sevens over the past 3 or 4 seasons. Played at the opening legs of this year's Sevens World Series in Dubai and Cape Town. Just has a feel of that ball under the watchful eye of Victor Odwor, the man in pink. Also the match official, in addition to his unconventional color, Hilary.
The referee is almost just taking a cue of Pink Panther, but not as mute as Pink Panther would be. That'd be the ones who will be blowing the whistle and doing all the other motions. Well, actually, to be honest, they look a bit like Pink Panther because you only see their arms moving up and about with very little motion from the lips. Nakuru playing to what would probably call textbook rugby, getting onto the safety bit. And Halwale, the man in your picture there, trialist with Kenya a couple of years back, has been plagued with a couple of injuries. Would be good to see him just having a consistent season and just finishing it up end to end without suffering from any injuries.
Indeed, as he takes the place of Edward Oseko, who has been out with a knock for the past 3 or 4 weeks. Just looking to cement this first team position. Braces himself for the line out through. It is claimed rather awkwardly there by Herman Hugwa. It is Nakuru cleaning it up.
Almost looked a bit like it was knocked on there, but the referee seems to be okay and happy with it. Box kick up into the air.
It is claimed by Dominic Osino.
It has just been interesting watching this Kenya Harlequins team picking itself up Remember the loss against KCB. Everyone probably thought that Kenya Harlequins would not probably be able to pick themselves up, but the way they managed to pick themselves up the week after against Nondis just showed a very potent and a very dangerous Queen side perhaps for the rest of the season.
True indeed. They just need to maintain those levels of consistency, and you probably feel that they will get a lot sharper as the season goes by and just deliver that knockout punch when it is needed in rather timely fashion. This is Martin Mwita, former Kenya under-20 international, long-serving Nakuru player. That ball out, but it is claimed by Aluda Beda, the former Kabras man, an alumnus of Chavakali High School. Sizosino, his former teammate at Kabras. A short pass from Agero to Kalwale.
Halole manhandled it, but managers get the ball out. Osino to Agero, looking very promising for Queens. Ambunya, Kenya Simba International, shrugging the first and the second. Ambunya was very dominant in the game against Nondis last month.
Indeed, one of his better performances over the past season and a half. He had petered off a bit and probably just feel that pain from the defeat to KCB stung him into life.
Laila Siligwa uses GPS tracker, gets it all the way to the 22-meter line. In your picture there, the man who calls himself Mr. Biceps.
Indeed, one of the assistant referees for today's encounter, Vincent Chwea, as Hillary rightly puts it, calls himself Mr. Biceps.
Halole taking his time, not in any hurry. Had an awkward throw the first time around. This one has not been challenged by Nakuru. They eventually set in for the maul. Just some moments of hesitation there from Nakuru, not engaging initially. Kenya Harlequins not making the most out of it. Haven't been able to gain any yard from the initial line out. The Nakuru defense scrambling all over. Look to have actually held up the man, and they've gotten a turnover. Much credit to Nakuru, and bit of disappointment from Kenya Harlequins.
Well, you have to give it to the Nakuru forwards, especially in a season where they're experiencing a lot of transition. Many of their senior players opting to decamp. Lawrence Buyachi, now based in Diani, where he plays championship rugby with the South Coast Pirates. Likes of Philip Owor still in the squad. Indeed, a very experienced second row pairing for Nakuru. Philip Owor and Edwins Makori. Tons of experience, and they're just guiding the rest of the younger boys in that pack for Nakuru.
Not too sure the exact number of times they've paired together in the low combination, but you almost get a feeling that it would probably be similar to perhaps the number of times the moon runs across the orbit circulating the earth.
This is Jeff Ominde. That was a bit awkward. He was under pressure from Dominic Osino.
Very disappointing there from Ominda. Very experienced player, one of the more experienced players for Nakuru. And Kenya Harlequins sniffing a bit of an opportunity. Ambunya breaking through the first and second line of defense. But very unfortunate there. Just not holding their foot in. Nakuru look to try and convert defense into attack. The referee had blown the whistle. Not so sure they was playing advantage.
That was Duncan Abuyeka with a very ambitious run. He just seemed to run out of gas as we got to the middle of the park. Duncan Abuyeka used to play his club rugby at Western Bulls, made the switch in the close season to Nakuru.
I think one of the more interesting bits in that little exchange was Haman Humo, who probably looks like he's twice the height of Abuyeka, chasing Abuyeka and catching up with him.
Indeed, but probably has something to do also with the conditions out there. 26 degrees, 13% humidity.
You can see Abuyeka getting the ball there, running all them. And look at where Haman Humo came from. Long striding. Just didn't give Abuyeka any chance, and he made the tackle eventually. Commitment there. Scrum put in for Jeff Ominde. Had a bit of a very nasty one the last time around. Kenya Harlequins will be keen on trying to just apply more pressure. Referee just asking both sets of front rows to get closer. Not too happy with anything further than the length of a hand, it would appear. Looks at Ominde, taking his time. Massive counters counter scrumming from Kenya Harlequins. Nakuru's carrying to get the ball out. A bit confident there, but Haman Humos, the man was there, snaps the ball, gets it out, and Kenya Harlequins turning it over. Misango, the captain, barges over, and it looks like the arriving man. No, it's actually Misango's holding onto the ball. Unfortunate for him there, the captain. He wouldn't be too pleased with that.
Indeed, that just kills the impetus for Kenya Harlequin as Duncan Abuyeka's quickly taken penalty fails to find touch. It is claimed by Aluda Beda. The ball is down on the floor. It's looking messy. Victor Dor yells play on. This is Philip Kwame with the pop pass to Edward Mosetti.
Never is easy to actually play your first game after Christmas. Just thinking about all those chapatis and chicken that you probably slaughtered. Perhaps a ghost of all those slaughtered goats and chicken coming back to haunt both teams within the opening exchanges of this game.
Indeed, when you realize that you have to get down into the business of making the tackles, picking yourself up after 4 weeks of having it easy and then bracing yourself in all those festivities.
Yet another scrum down, 8 minutes into this game. Nothing much separating both teams. Muita on this occasion being smashed by Aguero. And Ambunya just didn't have the sharpness to pick that up. You can see it on his face. He knows he could have done better. He knows he could have probably had a chance to score the opening try for Kenya Harlequins. But basically, well, they say has been, could have beens, all remain locked up in a little chest called I wish.
As we're heading into 8 minutes of the first half, it is Quins who have looked the sharper of the two sides in these opening exchanges. But remember, we still have about 72 minutes to play and anything could happen. The game could take on a totally different direction. This is Edward Anunda, one of the youngsters coming through the Nakuru ranks. That is one of the old men of the team, Edwins Mosetti. Edwins Makori.
Nakuru just being very patient, ball hogging, trying to get a bit of gaps but not getting any. Muita, oh, unlucky ball there from Muita to Kwame, and that will be a knock-on, a scrum down for Kenya Harlequins. You can see Kwame not too happy with himself there. Those are two of the more experienced players on the Nakuru side. You'd have expected a bit more better from them.
Indeed, the handling errors early on in the match. As you said, the team's still taking time to settle. That was a schoolboy error, for lack of a better word, and with no offense to schoolboys.
Yes, I love schoolboys. I love when I had a hairline when I was a schoolboy. I think that's really the statement.
Dominic Osino braces himself for the scrum put in for Quins. As we mentioned a few moments ago, they have looked the sharper of the two sides early on. But the match is still start and stop. Lots of errors. You just feel the teams trying to find their rhythm and trying to remind themselves that the festive season is over.
Senior taking his time. The referee, Victor Dor, seems to have a bit more prominence on his ability to manage the front rows. Has been consistent in the last 3 scrums so far. Looks to be clean. And does not allow the scrum half to put the ball in until he walks away from the channel. Then he walks away once it's already been said. You actually rarely get to see that. Nakuru this time pushing Kenya Harlequins. Misango, the captain, picking the ball. Does very well. Places on the base. Osino not too quick. Ball comes out easily picked up by Kenya Harlequins. Osino gets out to Misango. Misango has been one of the better ball carriers for Kenya Harlequins in the early exchanges. Aguero to that man called Olaba. Twists and turns, retains the ball, pops out a bit awkwardly. Almost lost there. Beda Luda scattering on the wing. Ball goes up. Almost looks like volleyball.
Indeed, I was about to say the same thing. And it ends up in a penalty for Nakuru. Once again, surviving the pressure coming from Quins. Jeff Ominde tasked with finding territory from the resultant free kick. Couldn't help but notice for Nakuru, Monate Akwe is back from a stint at Homeboys. Former Nakuru player moved to Homeboys at the start of the season, but opting to return home during the mid-season transfer window. You know, Hillary, just looking at the body language of the players on the pitch, rather casual, no urgency so far, but you just think that it will get to them as the game proceeds.
No real urgency being shown by either side. Very many errors. We haven't actually been able to see any team being able to pick up more than 7 phases of play. Or will that be the commentator's curse? I don't think so. Picked up by Harlequins. Mr. Asiligo with his GPS boot, getting it all the way back. Looks like the favor will be returned. Abuyeka hits it up. Stays up in the air, off the chest. That looks like it'll be a scrum. Or will it not?
Yeah, just bounced off the chest of Idi Kaikai. Another close season signing from Rfuea RFC. His debut season here at Kenya Harlequin.
Referee calls for a line out. Not so sure whether... Well, almost looked like the ball came off Kakai's chest, and that should be a scrum put in as opposed to a line out. But the referee's decision is final. My musings are for your entertainment. Nakuru quickly off the blocks from the line out. Muita now sporting a dreadlock look. Perfect kick by Muita. And for the first time, Nakuru get into the 22 of the opponents. And Nakuru now sniffing blood.
And you have to give it to Muita there. Great vision, just realizing that pocket deep inside Queen's territory wasn't covered. And that kick bouncing out into touch. It will be a Queen's line out, but they are under pressure deep in their half. This is Frank Kalwale with the line out throw. He probably will be targeting Herman Huma. Throws it short to Michael Onsando. He didn't get a feel of that ball, but Queen's doing well to secure it.
And the referee had his arm stretched out for advantage. Ostensibly passed for a knock-on from the line out. Doesn't look to be, looks like, yes indeed, it was advantage from the knock-on. And it'll be scrum put into Kenya Harlequins. In your picture there, the 2 Kenya Harlequins tacticians all putting on very interesting shots. Charles Kadovili is on your right, and Mr. Benjamin Otieno Imba. The sun is definitely not looking like it's going to hold off today. But those guys look very cool, calm and collected in it.
Pretty much dressed the part. And obviously expecting their charges to deliver. But it will be interesting to listen to their halftime talk. I'm sure it is not as deceiving as their dress.
Or their demeanor at all. Seen in your picture. Pushes a picture of a man deep in thought. Not so sure whether it's all about this game that's on his mind. Looks to have actually picked himself back up, back into action. Ball out to Olaba. Clearly looking to ride on the mismatch between Olaba and Muita, but Muita just doing well, managing to hold his own. You can clearly see what Kenya Harlequins will be trying to do for the better part of the game, perhaps trying to wear out the tinier Muita and bring the rampaging bull of Olaba right into his channel. Whistle has been blown. Not too sure if there's anything on this other side of the half. Looks to be an infringement from the kick on the other side. And indeed Kenya Harlequins going back for the ball. So Daudi Were almost looks as though the barbers in Kenya have been on strike. Everyone's sporting a beard in Kenya nowadays.
No comment.
None made at all. Score still deadlocked. Sun also looking like it's not going to renege any bit. And Halwale in your picture there. Michel Ochola, Jotham Mawili in your picture there. Jotham Mawili, a long-serving tactician for Nakuru, as TM has been there for close to 2 decades, if not more.
Yes, he has, and he was a very devastating back row in his day as well. Him and his brother Ben with Otieno. That was rather awkward from the line out.
For the uninitiated, Benways was an interesting bus company a while back. And let's just say that if you can end up getting a nickname named after a bus, you can imagine what it was all about.
He was pure terror on that pitch.
A gentleman off the pitch, but definitely a very competitive back row on it. Yet another knock on. You just get a feeling that this set of forwards are probably done as many scrums as perhaps would have been seen in any entire length of a game. Just shows the level of errors that have actually been witnessed in the first 15 minutes.
Indeed, that error rate has been quite high, and it's threatening to go through the roof. And the conditions, as we mentioned earlier, not making it any easier. 26 degrees, 13% humidity. You're playing at 2 p.m. Those are never the matches you'd look forward to playing.
Sure, there should probably be a quarter. And as soon as we speak about it, another one happens. We call it the commentator's curse. The GPS tracker this time fixated on Laila Siligwa's chest. Just bounces off. Almost looked like it was actually planned to bounce off. Bounced so lovely off the chest. Could actually probably get that into the Olympics for some gymnastics event.
Or probably be a feature of yesterday's NSL action, which was aired live on Bamba Sport.
Live on Bamba Sport. Kenya Harlequins aficionados there, not letting all these errors get to them. Next game after this one, we'll see Nondis playing against Impala. Two teams that also have a bit of history. That fixture will also double up as the Chums Memorial Trophy after Samson Odambo, who played for both teams and tragically passed away after a rugby game. It's also a game that is used to remember Ogeto Gecheo, who passed away 2 years ago under similar incidents and injury sustained after a rugby match. May their souls rest in peace, and always good to see them being remembered. Jeff Ominde pacing himself up and about. And the unfamiliar figure at the back row for Kenya Harlequins there is a man who's actually played at center over and over again.
And that man is Patrice Agunda, former Kenya Sevens international, former Kenya Simbas international. He was part of a midfield pairing with David Ambunya as they won the Kenya Cup fresh out of high school in 2010, rallying from a 21-3 deficit at halftime to beat KCB 26-21.
You can actually see a bit more tempo being picked up by Kenya Harlequins. Literally moving themselves up, trying to defend their territory, but Nakuru, perhaps trying to be the ones to draw first blood, but Kenya Harlequins quite dynamic in their defense. All of a sudden you can actually get the feel that the game has now begun. Could take a bit too long. It's allowing the Kenya Harlequins defense to set themselves up. They look to be keen on doing the pick and drives. Another pick and drive. Can't quite see the ball. Litany of bodies all over on the base. Ominde patching on through, but the Nakuru forwards not doing it consistently. Just allowing one of them to rush on ahead. It's the captain, Mr. Makori. Does he get over? It looks like he was over. Indeed, he's over. And the experience there by the captain, Edwin Makori, coming to play. They open the score. Nakuru 5, Kenya Harlequins 0. Try scoring your picture there. The lock and the captain, Edwin's Madu Makori.
And this with their first visit into the Queens 22. They camped there and have emerged with 5 points. Jeff Ominde tasked with the kicking duties to extend the score. But what a way to get this game underway. You've been under the cosh for the better part, and with your first visit to the opponent's strike zone, you end up with points.
Great technique there being shown by Makori. Great core stability as well. That is definitely not easy, I can tell you for a fact. And Ominde showed the extra 2. Nakuru 7, Kenya Harlequins 0. The referee seems to have motioned for a water break, just to allow both sets of players to hydrate. The sun is quite sweltering and definitely not relenting in Nairobi. And at the 20th minute mark, Nakuru, the ones to actually put Kenya Harlequins to the cosh. And a bit of a water break to just allow both sets of teams to rehydrate, cool themselves off, before we can continue with the remainder of the first half.
Well, the match officials also getting themselves a water break. You didn't want to be out there in this sweltering heat. And very quickly, the Nakuru lineup, which we didn't give you at the start of this match. James Njenga, Lucas Atito, Gibson Mugwe, Edwin Makori, Philip Owor, Teddy Agutu, Edward Mosetti, Edwin Anunda, Jeff Ominde, Martin Mwita, Crispin Onyango, Kelvin Omio, Monate Akwe, Hannington Wabwire, and Ankan Abuyeka. On the bench for Nakuru, Emmanuel Ambaya, Ezekiel Waitere, Kennedy Mwangi, Moses Okendo, Eric Nyangoya, Dan Olwoch, Walter Okoth, and Brian Mayaka.
When you look at the Kenya Harlequins bench, you almost get a feeling that maybe Nakuru would be better if they pumped in a couple more points before the halftime. Because look at the bench that has names such as George Cotton-Watch, Ugandan international Aaron Oforiworth, Tony Mutai, and you compare that with the bench power that Nakuru has, you almost get a feeling that it would be in Nakuru's best interest to pump as many scores as they can.
Indeed, they just have to navigate the next 18 or so minutes of this half and build themselves that foundation, as Hillary rightly puts it. Eden Aguero braces for the restart.
Aguero hoists it high. That's a very good kickoff. Does it bounce in? Indeed he does. He just manages to get its way out. That's a very clinical kickoff from Eden Aguero.
Yes, we've seen him do that time and again for Shujaa, the national sevens team on the World Rugby 7 series. And of course, just infusing those techniques into Kenya Cup action. This is his first start of the season for his club side, Kenya Harlequin.
And what a way to signal his entry into the 2018-2019 Kenya Cup season.
Dominic Osino just barking instructions to his backs.
The ball seems to be an issue. There's a Swahili saying about how a good farmer doesn't pick the tools of trade. Clearly in rugby, well, you can actually go around and ask for the ball that you believe will work well for you.
And that is just what Lucas Atito, the Nakuru hooker, is doing. Lucas Atito, long-serving player from Nakuru RFC, has come through the ranks, played quite a number of seasons in the reserve Eric Shali Shield, an alumnus of the Kakamega High School.
The reserve, long-term reserve gets a reserve ball. Let's be sure that he'll actually get a proper throw. Indeed he does. Picked up by Ominde, box kick up, sauntering into there. Some very nice hang time. Picked up by Aluda. Asiligwa. Kenya Harlequins is just trying to get themselves a gap, but opens halfway, closes immediately. Patrice Agunda playing at flank, driving the ball in. Ball quickly back out. Kenya Harlequins having numbers. Kioko, not one of the men you'd have expected to inject a bit of pace, but indeed he does enough. Aguero dummies once, dummies twice, gets a gap through, goes himself, pips it out. And that man Aluda scores in. Great work from Kenya 7 International Eden Aguero. And you can see Nakuru there just asking a couple of questions. Kelvin Omi himself, also a Kenya international. Aguero doing enough, getting the ball to Beda Aluda. Aluda almost butchering it at the end. Wasn't too certain whether he had clear space. And you get a feeling that if he had another extra yard, he probably would not have scored.
True indeed, but you have to give credit there to Eden Aguero, showing great vision and poise as well, because he was composed as he just showed the Nakuru defense that ball before floating it to the on-rushing Aluda Beda, who grounds to cut the deficit to 2 points. Laila Siligwa tasked with the converting duties. Crowd is all eyes here at the Rfuea ground.
I think it's more of all eyes and also sunglasses.
Definitely designer sunglasses.
The man with the best GPS track on his self, Mr. Siligwa, showed the extra 2, and Queens pulling level. And I guess we have what you actually call a proverbial ball game on hand.
Yes, we do. It's all square. We just see that again. That was a perfectly weighted pass from Eden Aguero to Aluda Beda. John Aluda Beda going over. It is all square, 7-all. We still have about 14 minutes to play in the first half here at the Rfuea ground. Martin Mwita almost fumbling as he has a feel of that ball.
Probably blame it on the hanging lock right in front of his face. Yeah, actually, that dreadlocks, I'd forget on occasion that I have something on my head. Maybe think it's a snake. Doesn't look to have been done according to the referee's instructions. They were ahead of the kicker, and that should be a scrum put in for Kenya Harlequins.
Well, you
A
could
bit
just
silly
see
from Nakuru there.
Yeah, you could just see all the nerves that Martin Mwita was in, because as a kicker, he's also supposed to make sure that the rest of his charges are behind him. He is supposed to exude that air of confidence, which is supposed to trickle down to the rest of his teammates. It just didn't happen there, and what a way to give away possession.
Osino with the ball in hand. Scrum is not set. Osino gets it in. Much better drive from Kenya Harlequins. Aguero rushes in, dummies again, and breaks the second time on dummying, and Aguero looks like he's going all the way by himself. He has it, and he's gone through. That is an amazing try from Eden Aguero. Absolutely nothing in it, just dummy once, dummy twice, pump your legs, twist and turn. Absolute beauty of a try, and Kenya Harlequins in the lead, 12-7 now.
And that is the kind of composure you need from the man tasked with the playmaking duties. Eden Aguero, he's done this time and again on the international stage, and it was going to be too easy for him here against Nakuru.
He made that look so easy. I'm pretty certain that the Nakuru coach is not too pleased, and I would actually pay to be a fly on the wall to listen in on to the halftime talk. Okay, maybe not fly. Let's say a flea, perhaps.
But the point is, you'd still want to listen to the halftime talk as you just catch a glimpse of Lyle Asiligwa bracing himself for the conversion. It's quite interesting. Lyle Asiligwa has been capped for Kenya at scrum half. Has turned out for Queens at fly half and fullback.
I'm waiting for him to turn out at prop as well, to make him a full and complete player.
Well, you probably have to give that some time, another 5, 6, maybe 10 years. As he nails that conversion, taking the score to 14-7. Is Queens beginning to pull away? But we saw this early on, Queens dominating the proceedings. Although Nakuru, with their one visit to the Queens 22, have emerged with 7 points.
A try by Edwin McCory looks to have been the proverbial starring of the Hornets' nest, because Kenya Harlequins seem to have been stunned on that, and that man who scored the try moments ago, Eden Aguero, being a joy to watch. Mwita this time doesn't make a mistake, kicks it up, knock on this time by Kenya Harlequins. Nakuru don't have the ability to capitalize on it, so they will get to feed off that, and characteristic from a man such as Patrice Agunda knocking on the ball from a kickoff. Very uncharacteristic.
Probably took his eye off the ball. Remember, with the sun overhead, you have to focus a lot more, not casting aspersions about his vision, just talking about what he needs to do. This is Jeff Ominde bracing himself for the scrum put in for Nakuru. Has been rather quiet, as has that man Dominic Osino. This match really hasn't sparked into life, despite the fact that we've seen 3 tries.
Both halfbacks, some of the more creative halfbacks in the country have been a bit cagey. That was very unfortunate. Driven over easily by Kenya Harlequins. Nakuru will not be too happy seeing a replay on that. And Misango picking the ball, rushing up, no one in sight. He's got man over his shoulder, pumps the ball, and Patrice Agunda trying to scurry up. Misango gets the ball, pops it up. Looking very promising for Kenya Harlequins. They've got Meno, oh goodness gracious. Not when you really have the try line begging. I mean, my goodness. And you can see he knows exactly what he's done. Hard yards coming to a knot, and Nakuru getting a get out of jail card when they really should have actually been punished.
Hilary Baraza just did not expect that ball from David Ambunya. Talk about Christmas come early. We're still 11 months away from the next Christmas day.
Well, to be quite accurate, we have, if you knock it off 14 days from we actually have 351 days to Christmas. Almost came too soon.
Too soon.
Jeff Omine not in any hurry, especially after the last scrum where they were literally bullied over. Ball in hand, but doesn't look like he's in any rush to get it in.
It's almost difficult to imagine that Kelvin Omio and Monate Okwai are on the field of play for Nakuru, literally seeing no ball as Queens continue to pile the pressure. And we spoke about Omio. Receives that ball, receives it once again from Martin Mwita. Strong feet from the former Kenya international. This is Edwin Makori charging forward there. Ominde with the pass back to Martin Mwita. That was close. Does he find touch? He does. Get out of jail card for Nakuru.
Mwita, the lovely punt, just relieving the pressure. And you actually get a feel that Kenya Harlequins may probably come back to rue that missed opportunity. Score still quite too close for comfort. 7 points in it. Not anything convincing as yet. And Nakuru just doing enough to still stay in the game. Halwale with a very, very loose pass of the line out. Managed to be picked up. Kenya Harlequins picking themselves up. Mr. Ambunya running his way through. It almost looks like the Peter, oh goodness, Herman Humwa introducing himself to the Nakuru defense. I was actually saying before Herman Humwa's punt there that it almost feels that Nakuru have perhaps just let off from making any tackles, just finding themselves across. Kioko also getting a piece of that defense.
That is Michael Onsando. He was never going to pass that ball, but he still avails it. Ominde with the tackle on Osino. Doesn't matter as Victor Dwar awards a penalty to Queens. It is in front of the sticks. What do you do, Hilary? Do you go for the 5 or do you go for the 3?
Take the 3, keep the scoreboard ticking, and that's exactly what Kenya Harlequins have done. You always have to ensure that every time you gain the hard yards, you come back with something on it. Always just has the positive vibe and picks the entire team across you. And much as the Nakuru defense has not been very convincing, they've just managed to ensure that the scoreline still remains respectable.
Remember, we still have that proverbial 60th minute to come, where things sometimes go pear-shaped.
The crack point, as they would call it. Man who's not missed a kick in the entire game goes for his third. Mr. Laila Siligwa. Easy breezy, extra 3 for Kenya Harlequins, extending the lead to 17 points to 7. Laila Siligwa, the man in your picture there with the extra 3.
As we're heading into the last 5 minutes of the first half, it is Queens with a 10-point lead over Nakuru. The tries coming from Eden Agero and Aluda Beda. Edwin Makori with the solitary try for Nakuru.
Mr. Mwita, the dreadlocked man in your picture. This time I'd like to go all the way south. Much better pick by Patrice Agunda. Shrugging off the Nakuru defense, picking another 3. Philip Kwame, not acting like a slouch in any way, and winning the turnover for Nakuru. The scrum put in for Nakuru. 4 minutes to the halftime interval. The referee calls for a blood bin. Looks like Mr. Kyoko will need to go around and get a bit of the blood wiped off. Just a safety precaution to avoid any contamination, especially within the front row. There's a bit more contact. Crowd has popped up at the Rfuea grounds. Not looking animated yet. It's been quite a cagey affair, 17 points to 7. Kenya Harlequins with the slight advantage. Nakuru guilty of not being very resolute on the defense, but lucky to only be 10 points adrift. Mr. Jeff Ominde from Nakuru takes his time. The referee Victor Dor doing the same thing again, just standing in front of the channel, ensuring that it's all stable before the ball goes in. Ominde gets a ball in. Yet another massive drive by Kenya Harlequins. Aman Humwa making the tackle. Nakuru just managing to somehow retain possession. Philip Kwame with the dummy, passes the ball out, and all of a sudden a bit of space for Nakuru. Just a lucky trip there by Abuyeka. Second time into the 22. Will they be second time lucky? Dummy from a prop, you don't get to see that a lot. Even dummied one over cameraman. Philip Kwame retaining the ball, jumping over one. Mike Onsando making the tackle. Nakuru looking good. A pick and drive from the dummy front row. Doesn't have the ability to make the same impact when you run straight into a person. Philip Kwame picking the ball, twisting and turning, running to his own man. Lucky that he did not obstruct any Kenya Harlequin defender. That would have been a turned over ball. Calvin Omio getting the ball down. Nakuru retaining the possession, keeping cool heads, just grinding it. Never get to see the referee actually tapping the defender off and telling him get back. Nakuru still retaining the ball possession. Philip Kwame picks a ball, held up by Mike Onsando. Meta welcoming committee. The referee will be playing an advantage for an offside line. Edins Makori, the captain, picking the ball. Almost looked like he was initially thinking at going for a quick one. Isolated by himself at the corner.
But he now has numbers with him, including the man who sold that dummy, James Njenga. Makori just carries it 1 or 2 meters forward. Nakuru have been composed anytime they have gotten into the Queens 22. There's Njenga again, does well to keep his feet under that challenge from Hilary Baraza. Ominde with the short pass to Philip Kwame, and it's a try.
Try good for Nakuru, 17-12. Right at the halfway point of this game, Nakuru is managing to show that they're still in it. Almost looked like he was losing the ball, but Kwame had the awareness of mind to twist and turn. Eden Aguero didn't seem to like it, not so sure why. Waves a single finger into the air. A couple of years back, about 25 years to be precise, that was a sign that showed that you had loyalty to a political party in Kenya.
Now does it just mean that you're pointing to the sky or finished in first position?
How things change.
It's quite impressive, Nakuru's strike rate. Anytime they enter the Queens 22, 2 visits, 2 tries.
That's a positive story that they can pick as they get into the halfway mark. Mr. Ominde adds the extra 2, and it's 17-14. Kenya Harlequins with a 3-point lead. Mr. Ominde walking back slowly. There's a try that was scored moments ago by Philip Kwame, just showing awareness And the single finger salute by Mr. Eden Aguero, probably telling the referee that you're actually top dollar, you're a top man. I would like to think so. Eden Aguero with a restart. Has a very uncanny of holding the ball. Almost looks like he's holding a crystal ball. And Kenya Harlequins winning the ball back, but Michael Onsando just having butterfingers. Great kick by Eden Aguero, allowing his charges to challenge for the ball, but Michael Onsando perhaps caught in two minds, damming, passing, and perhaps taking contact. And as you're doing all those things in your mind, your hands just have a way of opening up and letting the ball fall down.
Definitely, especially as we're heading towards the final moments of the half, you're probably looking at getting that sip of water to just hydrate your body after being out there.
Nakuru with a chance, trying to sniff something out, perhaps even get even before the whistle for the halfway mark.
You know, just looking at the first half, it's felt as though we're on the climbing lane of the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. It has been labored from both sides, and we just do hope that the second half sparks into life.
I've actually seen a bicycle overtaking trucks on the climbing lane. That's what it's almost felt like. Nakuru almost looked like they'd escaped, but referee spotting a knock-on the counter drive. Strong counter drive by Kenya Harlequins. That'll be one area of concern for Nakuru as they get into the halfway mark. Probably need to change tact or bring in fresh legs, because these Kenya Harlequins forwards have literally taken them to school.
Indeed, and when you think about the firepower on the Queen's bench, the veteran George Scott Olwatch, Tony Mutai, Arano Forioth, and Melvin Thairu, former Kenya under-20 international. Queens certainly do have a lot more in terms of firepower. And it is for Nakuru to step up to them. Another massive drive coming through from Queens. What's the intention here? Do they want to walk it home?
They're milking the penalty, and they've gotten it. The referee placing his hands up. Eden Aguero, Harry Potter, the magician, giving to David Ambunya. That was a shoeless tackle on Ambunya.
Well, the ball is out again. Eden Aguero twists and turns, evades his defenders. A few meters gained, seems to have lost the ball as he went down on the tackle. But referee Victor Odwor playing the advantage. Probably from that shoeless tackle that you saw moments ago.
The hands on the head, they clearly show the story. I'm not too certain any of these forwards will be too amused or happy with getting into a scrum. So, you know, initially looked like he was perhaps trying to suggest that a lineup would be the better option. And indeed that looks to be the case.
Obviously, you want to spare your forwards the excesses of getting into another scrum down. They have been myriad in the first half, even lost count.
Would be very unfair for a scrummer to insist on a scrum when all your forwards always have their hands up in their heads, on their heads, looking like hangers. Frank Halwale with the ball. Quickly thrown in, comes down. None from Nakuru, getting into the mole. That's the third time they've done that. I'm not so certain exactly why they're not challenging the mole. Deep in the territory, another advantage being played for Kenya Harlequins. Osino going blind this time. Aluda with a simple try. His second of the match. Kenya Harlequins with 3 tries, 2 from that man Beda Aluda, and extending their lead 22 points to 14. Grandstand finish. Kenya Harlequins deservedly in the lead.
Once again, another well-weighted pass from Eden Aguero, who for me is top contender for MVP in this match.
I think by country mile has been the most outstanding player, being able to pick out gaps in the defense, his ability to run and actually take them on, his ability to get his teammates into the play. He's been quite exceptional.
And when you think that Aaron Oforioth is still out on the benches, Wonder how they will operate when they link up together in the second half, assuming that is the plan for Charles Kadovilis and Ben Ayimba.
Must be smiling like a Cheshire cat, just licking his fingers at the prospect of having two of perhaps, in my opinion, the two most creative and gifted players in East Africa playing for your team at halfback is not an easy task.
Laila Siligwa has been perfect with his kicks for goal. This is probably the most challenging angle he's had to face so far in this match. Can he make it 4 out of 4 from his goal attempts?
This time the flag stay down. And at the halfway point, Kenya Harlequins with a 22-14 lead against Nakuru. This is the Kenya Cup Match Day 6 live broadcast from the Rfuea grounds, live on Bamba Sport.
As you just confirmed the scores at halftime, it is Kenya Harlequin leading by 22 points to 14. They have scored 3 tries to Nakuru's 2. As we just catch a glimpse of the first half highlights. That was Lyle Asiligwa getting us underway. Duncan Abuyeka with that break early on. And the tackle that came through from Herman Humwa. And this is that moment Edwin's Makori went over for the game's opening try, the first try of 2019. And at this moment in time, it was Nakuru comfortably in the lead. And this was their first visit to the Queens 22. Jeff Ominde calmly stroked over that conversion. So Sky Kai just showing that ball and attacking that space. And moments earlier when Eden Agero set up Aluda Beda for Queens' opening try. Perfectly timed pass from Eden Agero to Aluda Beda. Then Eden Agero there got a try of his own, slicing through the Nakuru defense with such calm and poise. Let's just see that again. His injection, his vision, and his composure there, just going over. This was the go-ahead try for Queens, even after the desperate attempts to slow him down from Hannington Wabwire. That was the audacious dummy from James Njenga. This was Nakuru making inroads into the Queens 22. They would eventually score a try from the last phase of play there. Philip Kwame just twisted and turned and found his way over the chalk for that try. And then came the penalty from Lyle Asiligwa before this moment of magic from Eden Agero. The step, creating some pressure there. And then that perfectly timed pass once again to Aluda Beda. The touchdown that gave Queens the lead. As we go into the halftime break, it is Queens leading by 22 points to 14. We will be back any moment for the second half.
magnificent athlete. Rhodesia wins.
Missed out on some weekend footballing action? Perhaps that last-minute winner? That controversial moment?
This is the Champions League. Headline being written.
Or even some off-field drama?
Respect.
With the help of expert analysts and of course you the fans will be covering all matters football.
Character within these players is magnificent. Also during the World Cup, Hazard was at the top of his game.
Tune in to Monday Night Football with me, your host Mohamed Abubakar from 8:30 p.m. on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans. Football 254 is back. Fresh face, fresh show. A show that brings you the best of Kenyan football from the Kenyan Premier League to the National Super League, magnifying all matters grassroots football and the national team. Join me, Mohamed Abubakar, on Football 254 every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. only on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
And we're back for the second half of this Kenya Cup clash between Kenya Harlequin and Nakuru RFC. Quins taking a 22-14 lead into the interval, scoring 3 tries, 2 of them coming from John Aludabeda, the other one coming from Eden Agero. Lyle Asiligwa managing 2 conversions and a penalty, while Nakuru with 2 converted tries from their second row pairing of Philip Kwame Owor and Edwins Makori. Jeff Ominde with both conversions. As we just catch a glimpse of this experienced trio of Queens players, David Ambunya, Laila Siligwa, and Eden Agero, joined there by the man in the headgear, Patrice Agunda. I wonder if he's feeling hot in the sweltering heat out there.
A very animated conversation there, especially between Eden Agero and Patrice Agunda. Almost looked like they're discussing the best way to execute the electric slide.
Definitely some of the moves they will be looking forward to later tonight at the clubhouse during the post-match festivities.
Or what they infamously call the third half of the game.
Exactly.
Nakuru haven't gotten back to the pitch. I'm hoping that they'll get on in a little while. Kenya Harlequins looking quite keen and hungry to pick off where they left in the first half. And Nakuru get back in. Martin Muita in your picture there with the dreadlocks. Edwin Makori, Martin Muita, Philip Kwame, Kelvin Nomio, and Jeff Ominde, the experienced players on the Nakuru outfit. And Nakuru also bringing in very many young players and trying to blend them in. Including that man in your picture, the man who had a very brief stint at Homeboys, Monate Akwe. Almost sounds as if it's actually a very artistic name. And Kelvin Omio in your picture there, the man they call Kichwa. Not too sure whether that is on account of his extreme game vision.
Or his stubbornness.
Mostly stubbornness, perhaps. I'm not confirming or refuting anything. Just saying that his nickname is Kichwa.
And one interesting fact about Monate Akwe, born in the refugee camp at Lokichogio, of Sudanese heritage, but has represented Kenya at the under-20 level. And should he stay consistent, he has a long way to go. Still only 20 years of age as Martin Muita gets this second half underway. The ball immediately fielded by Queens and booted out. This is Edward Mosetti with a quick restart. Duncan Abuyeka does well to flat foot Dominic Osino and find territory.
And kicks it straight out. Net effect, 2 meters from the place he kicked off. Frank Halwale in your picture there will be the man to throw the penalty for Kenya Harlequins. Has the ball in hand already. Kenya Harlequins look a bit more sharper. Their line has already been formed. They're looking ready to go. Mr. Kioko in your picture is the one who's not too comfortable, it would appear. Mike Onsango just backing a couple of orders to the back. Indeed, the ball goes to the back and almost gets lost in midair. Queens managing to retain it.
That is Hilary Baraza just driving forward. Peter Misango with the continuity there. But the ball is stolen by James Njenga. Ominde with the pass, and it is short. That is Crispin Omondi. The kick downfield from Jeff Ominde. Pretty much causing a bit of trouble where there was none for Lyle Asiligwa and Idi Kaikai. But Asiligwa, in his attempt to find territory, only kicks it as far as Abuyeka. And here we go once again. You can see from his stance, he intended to kick that ball, but opting to go into contact. It's looking messy on the floor there, but cleaned up by Ominde. This is Muita. Akwe does well to keep his feet, and this is looking like a very promising moment of play for Nakuru. Actually, first time in this match we've seen them string more than 4 phases of play in the middle of the park.
And the commentator's curse comes to strike.
So what do we do, Hillary? Do we go on mute and just watch Nakuru
I think what
play?
we actually say, we perhaps believe that they should be having a face. But Kenya Harlequins just ping the ball back in there. Kioko not too happy with himself. Should have been able to hold that on. They had Nakuru on the cosh, and his body language tells it all. Scrum put in for Nakuru in the Kenya Harlequins territory. Referee having a heart-to-heart with both sets of front rows.
They must be very familiar with each other at this point in time. Remember all those cramdowns we saw in the first half and all being overseen by Victor Odwar.
Could actually write a thesis from the scrum downs within the first 15 minutes. And as sure as you could possibly imagine, a massive drive coming in from Kenya Harlequins, but Nakuru managing to hold on to the ball possession. Ominde lucky to get that ball through. And a good kick. It was almost snapped up. Nakuru driving over. Kenya Harlequins on the cosh. Whistle is blown. Referee not too happy with something there.
Indeed, as Laila Siligo just looks to have come off worse from that collision with Hannington Wabwire in the contest for the ball. Although he did show great poise to claim that ball under all that pressure from Wabwire.
You really do not want to be hit by someone called Hannington, or Johnstone, or Smithstone. Anything with a stone or a tone at the end of it is quite a heavy hit, but Siligo looks to be okay.
And definitely Siligo will have a lot to speak about after being hit by Hannington.
Pretty certain his nickname is Honey. Anyway, back to the game. Halwalo with the ball. Overshot and won by Nakuru.
And this is Atito with that charge forward. Has he released that ball? Looked messy once again. Well, you could see that from miles away. Lucas Atito did well to claim that loose ball, but he just held on to it once he hit the floor, and once again costing his side the advantage and the momentum.
Some very strong remonstration there from his captain, Edwin Makori. Could almost see him just getting frustrated, knowing how soon and how soon in the game they need to actually add points in, and how close they were to the try line. It'll be yet another chance for Kenya Harlequins at the line out to try and clear off their base.
This is Frank Kalwale bracing himself for the line out throw. The sun has also come out to play here at the Rfuea ground.
Ball won by Nakuru. Halwale not executing as per mandate. And after those two lineouts, just get a feeling that he might be the first candidate for substitution when that moment comes for Charles Kadovilis to make his initial changes. Nakuru just looking a bit more vibrant, breaking the first and second line of defense. They still retain the ball possession. A bit too hungry, need a bit more patience. Looking very lively from the side. Patrice Agunda just going in a very unconventional way to make the tackle, but it works somehow. Nakuru still retaining the pressure and the ball. Referee calling for a penalty advantage for Nakuru. Quickly taken by Jeff Ominde, cross kick. Is there anyone home to field it? Nakuru pick it up, and that is a super try by Nakuru. Signing into the second half. Great vision by Jeff Ominde. Speculative, but well worked. Try good. 22-19 for Nakuru.
Undoubtedly try of the season. 6 weeks into the season. I don't think we're going to see anything like this again in the Kenya Cup.
Risking it all. Just seeing that he had someone out on the corner, Bedaluda. Do you think they could have practiced that out, or is it just an issue of let's try and see if it works for us?
Definitely something they had practiced, and you have to give it to Jeff Ominde and Duncan Abuyeka. Great vision, great awareness, great finish.
Lovely execution. And all of a sudden, if this kick goes in, it'll be a 1-point game. Ominde taking his time. Sure with it. Goes and slides through the sticks. Scores now. Kenya Harlequins 22, Nakuru 21. Jeff Ominde, the man with the extra 2, the creative genius behind the try. 100% record. 3 feeds into the 22, as you mentioned, Mike, and 3 tries. How about that for efficiency?
Well, there's a lot to talk about in terms of Nakuru's play in this match, but anytime they've entered the Queens 22, they've emerged with 7 points.
Definitely not want to go into a Dory negotiation against a Nakuru, a team of direct negotiations made off from Nakuru RFC players, definitely not win it.
Laila Siligwa gets the match restarted and the ball claimed by Edwins Makori. You just feel the tempo of the game rising. The box kick from Jeff Ominde downfield leads to a chase. It is claimed by Misango. Tackle there, it is desperate from Eric Nyangoya, formerly of Eldoret RFC. Asiligwa with the kick downfield, but Victor Odor blows his whistle for an infringement. It will be a Queen's penalty.
And you just got to go around and ask yourself whether the line-out throws by Frank Halwale within the second half have been executed according to standard. 2 times he's actually gone and slipped the ball through to the back and Nakuru picked up. They've threatened, and even that try coming in was as a result of a very loose throw off a line-out. And that's perhaps one of the aspects of the game that Kenya Harlequins need to try and sharpen up on, because Nakuru are definitely carrying on this momentum and taking them to school. One in your picture, Halwale has not been very sharp with his last 2 line-out throws. Gets the third one through to the front. Must have actually been told not to try and risk it. Osino, Patrice Agunda electing to drive in. Eden Agero, Olaba looking better for Queens. Asiligwa, Kakai runs through the first and loses the ball. Quite unfortunate. Nakuru with a chance to clean up, but they don't. And Nakuru will play for the scrum.
A lot more life evident in the second half as you just catch a glimpse of Felix Mwalimu Olo, one of the Nakuru assistant coaches. It was a scramble there, probably as frantic as the scramble for Africa in 1885.
I bet that you're actually now trying to insinuate that the French is trying to hive off Francophone West Africa and the British Imperial East African Company.
There's a lot more urgency. And these 2 men still looking calm and collected.
Yeah, the men in jeans and the checkered shirts.
I was about to say connected as well.
Definitely. Charles and Benjamin. Both great coaches in their stead, and also stalwarts of the game in Kenya. Jeff Ominde with the ball in. Counter drive coming from Kenya Harlequins, but Nakuru just managing to keep it. There's a penalty advantage for Nakuru. Kenya Harlequins have totally disintegrated the entire scrum, which is a shocker. And Jeff Ominde, I think, just knows that he already has a penalty, not showing any level of sharp crispness.
As you just catch a glimpse of Alan Tyson, one of Nakuru's die-hard traveling fans, permanent fixture at their matches, home and away.
A man that's bigger than life, no pun intended. Great kick by Jeff Ominde. Nakuru get themselves back into Kenya Harlequins territory, and the first 10 minutes of this game have been all Nakuru, stamping the authority and showing that they're just not here to make the numbers, but are keen to try and compete for points.
Just catch a glimpse of the senior Onsando brothers. They were a force to reckon with in their day, and it is great to see their offspring still play the game in this day and age. This is Hilary Baraza charging forward for Queens. Eden Agero. A bit of football there from Aluda Beda. That was awkward on the floor from Abuyeka. He shows great nerve to clean up his own mess, and more importantly, secure possession for Nakuru. Monate Akwe in the unfamiliar position of scrum half. Philip Kwame finding himself in a bind. Victor Dwar calls for a forward pass, advantage Queens.
It's a bit of blood rush to the head. Not the calm heads that we've been seeing from Nakuru within the first 10 minutes of the second half. Just need to exercise a bit more composure, a bit more confidence, because we've seen what they can actually do in moments where they are actually calm. That try scored moments ago, being clear testament of what Nakuru are capable of doing when they can actually just have calm resolve and pick themselves up. Aaron Oforiworth has come into the field of play, replacing Dominic Osino, and it will be interesting to see how Nakuru will be able to wave off the level of creativity that the man with the coconut head style brings onto the field of play.
You know, just looking at Aaron Oforiworth, looks clean shaven at one point, and then there's these strands of hair. I wonder what he tells his barber. That should be something that the guys at Bamba Sport should investigate when they invite Aaron Oforiworth to chat about his rugby playing.
His rugby playing and hair plating. Oforiworth still has the ball in hand, not in any rush. Victor Drode going through the rituals, making certain that he controls the engagement point. The front row, Oforiworth shrugging off Jeff Ominde. Doesn't want to become pen pals. Ominde doesn't look to be holding back. Still asks for his address, send a letter. Ball comes and kicked back in. Referee calls for penalty for Kenya Harlequins. Oforiworth quickly takes it. Didn't seem to tell anyone. Patrice Agunda was the only one aware of that, and Oforiworth goes in for a one-man rack. Ball comes out. Kenya Harlequins with numbers out. Nakuru shuffling well. David Ambunya has been very quiet in this half. Oforiworth, coconut hair man. Kioko. Ball pops out. Oforiworth shrugging, gets the ball out. Mr. Harry Potter Aguero kicks the ball up. Beda Lude is running for it. Smashing hit by Philip Kwame. Bueka picking the ball. The scores remaining 22-21 to Nakuru, but Kenya Harlequins look to be waking up from the initial slumber in the second half.
Indeed, the inclusion of Oforiworth has just brought life into Queens, just as they seemed to be fading away, and Nakuru were getting into the ascendancy. But you have to give it to Philip Kwame for that thumping tackle on Eden Aguero, a try-saving tackle that would have seen Queens go further ahead. This is Lucas Atito. He'll have to be sure with this line out. He'll have to make sure his jumpers claim that ball, deliver it to their kickers, and just find territory, get out of jail, and ease the pressure that is piling on them from Queens.
Atito with the ball. He throws it straight into the hands of the veteran Tony Mutai, who turns, pumps his legs. The ball pops out somehow for Kenya Harlequins, but was it part forward? Referee has stopped the whistle, thinks he wants to consult, confirm whether that was done legally. A bit of consultation with the assistant referee on the far end. Knock on, no try. Nakuru ball looks to be the call there.
24 minutes remain in the second half. 1 point separating the two sides. If you're joining us, Queens in the quartered shirts, Nakuru in the predominantly black and green strip. Scores 22-21. Both sides have landed 3 tries each. Nakuru have been successful with their conversions. Queens have managed 2 conversions and a penalty in addition to their 3 tries.
Jeff Ominde with the ball in hand. Always has a skull cap when he plays. Not too sure why he doesn't have one today. Ball goes in. Nakuru looking a bit more solid in their scrummaging in the second half. But the ball comes out on the Kenya Harlequin side. How did that happen? Ball locked up by Nakuru. Misango doesn't look to be in any position to release that ball. Looks like Nakuru will turn that ball over immediately. Kelvin Omia gets in, pulls it down. Ball is unplayable, and that will be a penalty for Kenya Harlequins. Kelvin Omia actually had shielded the ball off on the base of the ground, and that man, Peter Haman Humo, was flirting with the idea of going in, risking it all and getting it. But Aaron Oforiworth punts it down into the line out for another chance for Kenya Harlequins.
Aaron Oforiworth cuts a figure of confidence, and His confidence obviously spreading within the Queens ranks. Their tails are up. They can sniff the try line. They want to walk it home from this distance. They have Nakuru on the kosh. Oforioth has a glimpse of the ball. Plays it short.
Philip Kwame and Eric Nyangoya struggling with Hilary Baraza. Baraza manages to hit deck. Kenya Harlequins trying to slice the kick a bit more. Inching closer, picking and drive. Not there quite yet. Literally meters off from the chalk. And Nakuru just doing well. Hand is out by the referee. Penalty advantage. Oforioth. Tony Mutai easily tackled. The referee blows the whistle. Yet another penalty for Kenya Harlequins. Nakuru will need to be very careful.
And surely something has to give from all the pressure being applied by Queens. As Oforioth just has a word with his forwards, looking to conjure up something. The same old, they're going for the tried and tested. They have obviously spotted a chink in the Nakuru armor, and they're out to exploit it.
This is where all the experience in the world comes into play. 20 minutes, we're right at the 60-minute crack point. This is where the fitness, experience, mental temerity comes into play. Tony Mutai, the veteran, getting the ball up the lineup. Kenya Harlequins look to a form. If they're moving, looks to be moving. Nakuru struggling to try and defend. And that's a track and trailer by Kenya Harlequins. Nakuru winning the ball, getting just rewards for the very rugged defending. What a disappointment for Kenya Harlequins. 10 minutes onto the Nakuru foray and nothing to show for it.
And Nakuru will be looking to get out of jail after being on the course for the last 5 or so minutes. They have done well not to concede a try. Question is, can they sustain this going forward? Jeff Ominde just gaining a few more crucial meters. The follow-up lineup will have to be clean from Nakuru. Lucas Atito has struggled with his line-out throws for Nakuru, but so has Frank Kalwale. And as we speak, there has been a replacement. Atito has been replaced by Emmanuel Mboya. Young Emmanuel Mboya, still only 21 years of age.
Jeff Ominde seems to be in a spot of bother. Looks to be shoulder. And every time they stretch, you can actually see the grimace on his face. Could be a twiggly old nerve.
Now the likely replacement for Jeff Ominde, should he be unable to continue this, will be Donald Watch, former Kenya Sevens international.
Yet another exciting player to watch. Almost looks like he has 1,000,001 tricks in his bag. He just never seems to stop having the ability to excite.
A little bit of entertainment there amongst the fans who have made their way down to the Rfuea ground for this doubleheader. Remember, at 4 p.m. we do have Impala Saracens against Nondis. Hilary, that should be an exciting one as well.
Indeed it will be. Impala and Nondis have had very interesting matchups within the past couple of seasons. As I mentioned earlier in the first half, this particular game between Impala and Nondis also doubles up as a memorial for two players who played for both teams incidentally and passed away tragically after a rugby game. Two players in questions are Sylvester Ogeto-Gecheo and Samson Odhiambo. We remember you. Our thoughts go out to their families, and they'll forever remain rugby legends and honored in their rights. Nakuru with a throw by Mboya. Just getting smacked off the face of Edwin Makori and landing with the Kenya Harlequins hand. Not what they'd have probably expected after that very diligent foray of defending. But getting in numbers, holding the ball up and winning the turnover. And all of a sudden just getting a chance to control their own narrative.
This match remains a close contest with 18 minutes to play. Some pundits had predicted Queens walking all over Nakuru, but the lads from the Central Rift Valley have shown up. It has been a slugfest. It hasn't been anything spectacular, but it still has been a contest. 1 point separating the two teams. We still have 18 minutes to play.
The last few minutes of the first half and the opening exchange of the second half have clearly shown that when given a chance, both teams have the ability to up the ante and play a bit more fluid rugby. But on the odd occasion, the errors coming on through perhaps a testament that the 3 weeks break may have perhaps negatively impacted on both sets of players. I don't know, Foriworth, just saying hello to all of you guys at home there. If you're near TV, you can actually wave back at him.
I think he's also saying hi to the guys in Chadondo, the Chadondo Rugby Club in Uganda.
Ball comes out, Kenya Harlequins rampaging through. Foriworth. Ambunya, who's been very quiet. Asiligwa getting to contact. Foriworth gets the ball back out. Kioko, shoelace tackle. Ball turned over by Nakuru, but illegally from the side. Needs to be very careful. The remonstration on throwing the ball has landed a couple of players in problems in recent times.
And anytime we've seen Edward Anunda with the ball, he is remonstrating. A 20-year-old probably feeling underutilized. He has a lot of energy bubbling within, but not able to express himself.
The picture there, Nakuru RFC chairman Mwangi Mushemi just having a hearty laughter with George Mokwasi, one of what I can actually term biggest hecklers you'll probably get for Kenya rugby across the globe. Based in Dallas in the US, a good host whenever in the US. Trust me, he knows how to party. Fidel, Ngalimolo, in your picture there. Felix, I beg your pardon. Showing a bit more nervousness than you probably would expect to see from him. A very astute coach, one of the more, I can actually term, pivotal people within the Nakuru RFC structure, responsible for their age grade development program, and definitely happy to see a bulk of his charges graduating and playing for the Nakuru senior team.
Indeed, and Felix was part of that Nakuru squad that won back-to-back Kenya Cup titles in 2013 and 2014. The first time that a side from Nakuru had won the Kenya Cup. We'll just catch a glimpse of the color here at the Rfuea ground. And we spoke about George Mukwasi. Let's see him again there, making his way into the stands. One of the keen followers of the game. It is advantage Queens. 15 minutes to play. Aaron Oforioth with the scrum put in. It's like he has stolen the shine off Eden Aguero since coming on.
Indeed it has, and perhaps that's a case of you can't have two chiefs within the same village. Natural pecking order has it that you can only have one alpha male at any moment in time. It looks like Aaron Oforioth is the alpha male at this moment in time. Ball kicked out, penalty advantage. Oforioth taking matters literally into his own hands. Shrugging through the first and the second, held up in the tackle. Doesn't look like he has anywhere to go. Referee says over not 10. Patricia Gunos take another quick one, but that will not be allowed. You can only have one quick one. Mwangi Mushemi with the stunners, looking stunned at the call as well.
And also looking to stun the referee with his comments. As we see a man down for Nakuru. We will confirm who it is in a moment. Great sportsmanship there as we see the Queens medic going to attend to the Nakuru player.
So I always say good sportsmanship should be able to go around and sustain above everything else. Doesn't look been any level of big concern. Man with his secret bottle. Almost looks like a Bedouin tent herder trying to rehydrate, but I'm pretty certain that the contents there may not be water. It's not for me to judge, however. Back onto the field of play. Should be a scrum put in for Kenya Harlequins. Then the strike zone, 13 minutes left on the clock, 1 point separating these two teams. Game starting a bit dull, but building up and eventually getting to be a bit more exciting. 1 point separating both teams, and in your picture, Donald Oluoch getting onto the field of play. Looks to have replaced Jeff Ominde at the scrum half position. So we've got two very interesting and talented halfbacks on either side. Aaron Nofori for Kenya Harlequins and Donald Lodge for Nakuru RFC. But for now, Nakuru having to defend heavily, try and get something from the game. The referee just going back to speak to the Nakuru RFC physio, trying to confirm what the cause of action was, I believe, from the previous injury. Blows whistle back up, so we'll be able to proceed for the scrum put-in. It's Aaron Oforio with the ball in hand, easily being watched by Donald Olwatch. Oforio through the coconut hairstyle, ball in hand, checkered shot. Ugandan international, now playing straight for Kenya Harlequins in Kenya. Ball comes on Nakuru, struggling to keep abreast of that push by Kenya Harlequins. And that's a knock-on by Kenya Harlequins. You don't get to see that. They were actually pushing and managing to control the scrum, but they knocked the ball on. Peter Misango seeking to confirm with the referee what happened, but I bet he knows better what occurred in that exchange. And Nakuru with the scrum put in.
Wow, as we're heading into the final 10 or so minutes, Queens will obviously rue the lost opportunities. They have camped in the Nakuru 22 for the last 10 or so minutes. No reward yet.
It almost feels ages from the time Jeff Ominde executed the cross kick early in the second half. It's been Queens camped in the Nakuru territory, but unfortunate not to be able to score any point.
You know, just looking at that halfback pairing, Aaron Oforioth versus Don Olwatch, a bag of tricks between the two sets of players. Can they make the last 10 or so minutes of this match electric?
They've been able to show their ability, their creativity, and their desire. 10 minutes or thereabouts left on the clock, 1 point separating. This is when they actually have to stand up to be counted.
You know, Hillary, speaking as a back, these are some of those games where you leave with so much energy because you've really not been brought into play. You can just look at Kelvin Omio and Monate Akwe pacing around even as they're on the back foot, obviously demanding for some clean ball, wanting to get into contact. It just hasn't happened for them this afternoon.
Plus the added impetus of having solar energy being sapped into your skin ensures that you actually have a bit more zap. Forwards have literally slugged it out the entire half, first and second. I mean, really, it's been all in the forwards.
Yes, it has, and you'll have to give credit to both sets of forwards at the close of these 80 minutes.
Donald Lodge is waiting for the referee to set up the scrum for putting the ball in for Nakuru. You'd have to expect a big punt all the way down and a quick chase to try and recover. Just tough of a bit of pressure they've been enduring. And Kenya Harlequins with the massive counter shove. Goodness dear. What did they do to deserve that?
Nyangoya doing well to just secure that ball for Nakuru, but it doesn't matter because Queens forced the turnover. Just making sure that these are not premature celebrations. It is one thing to find yourself in possession. It is another to go over the chalk and add those 5 or 3 points and extend the lead.
A disappointing thing is after the scrum, though, a couple of coat hanger hands on some of the foreheads of the Queens forwards. Let's hope they have something still left within the system after that massive shove. Aaron Foriworth seems to be winking at some of his back rows. You'd fancy that perhaps it'll be a pick and drive off the back of the scrum. But I mean, conventional wisdom dictates that if you already have the shove working, just drive it over. Worst case scenario, try and milk a penalty try.
And this looks like it will be a job for Peter Misango. Just hoping that our predictions are right. He does well to secure it as the Queens forwards continue to drive. Inches close. the advantage is with Quins.
Let me guess, they'll call for another scrum, don't you think?
Definitely that is what is going to happen. They do have the physical advantage over the Nakuru forwards. Do they have the gas? Do they have the energy to just take it over the chalk? That is the big question.
Couple more coat hangers in your picture there. Forwards are really putting in a heavy shift. And that's one aspect of the game that Kenya Harlequins has been head, shoulders, knees and toes above Nakuru. Forioth with the scrum put in. 5 minutes eaten up in 6 scrums over the last, in that same part of the ground. Forioth gets a ball in. Nakuru really digging in and trying to sink low. Just don't seem to have the weight, and yet another penalty advantage, and it's been a repeated infringement. That's a penalty try. 4 times to the good. The referee decides he's had enough. Penalty try to Kenya Harlequins, extending the lead. Kenya Harlequins 25, Nakuru 21. 29 plus a penalty. Kenya Harlequins 29, Nakuru 21.
Well, that was coming, though you also have to give it to Victor Odwor. He has been a patient man this afternoon. We've seen incidences where those penalty tries would have been awarded way earlier, more as a deterrent against wayward behavior. But Victor Odwor has ensured that we play by the book all through. I think with about 6 minutes to play, his patience has also run thin.
Pretty certain that patience is also a very thin element. And yeah, as you clearly said, Odwor has exercised it. It breaks and can't be sustained.
Some interesting banter there between a Queens fan and some Nakuru fans. Obviously, it doesn't go beyond that banter, and that is the beauty of the game of rugby.
Pretty certain they'll be able to pick a drink at the end of the game in the next couple of minutes and literally laugh their head silly about it. Nakuru is waiting for the referee to finish some of the discussions having at the center. Eden Aguirre in your picture, and I believe that's also Edwin's Makori, being cautioned for something that he could have observed. The fans on the far side enjoying the atmosphere in the game at the Rfuea grounds. I believe the referee has passed a message with the captains. Kenya Harlequins huddling in next to their captain Misango, and Nakuru doing a similar thing around their captain Edwin Makori. Perhaps just being cautioned, 5 minutes left on the clock. Do not actually act foolish. I am ready to discipline, and please do not try my patience. I'm paraphrasing what I believe he's telling them.
I believe Victor Odwor will be issuing a press statement after that session with both sets of captains.
He'll be addressing the nation.
Donald Alwatch prepares to restart this match. 4 minutes to play. It is Queens leading by 29 points to 21. They have scored 4 tries. The last on a penalty try.
Actually, Jeff Omind is back on the field of play. Interesting to see him there. And Brian Maina also on the field of play. Alwatch gets off. Or does he get to the wing? He's still on the field of play as well. I think Alwatch may be as confused as we are, asking, where should I play? Should I play? Should I stay? Should I kick? Should I not? And he stays on. The referee now also goes to consult. I'm not sure what the nature of the query is, whether Nakuru could have exhausted the entire bench.
And you know, looking at Jeff Ominde receive treatment earlier, it was a problem with his shoulder, at least from what we could decipher. The fact that he's back on the field would be interesting, because I think the protocols cover head injuries and blood injuries, if I'm not wrong.
The shoulder is next to the head, so maybe unless he's got a fused one. That's neither here nor there. He stays on the field of play. He's kicking off. The referee seems happy with him. And Ominde will kick off Nakuru for the last few minutes of this half and game. Kicks it deep, picked up by Oforiworth, who returns the favor, sends a telegram deep up into the end. That's a big boot by Aaron Oforiworth.
And that is what you need to be doing now with about 3 minutes to play. You don't want to allow Nakuru any breathing space. As it so stands, Nakuru, even not able to get the bonus point, they need to get to within 7 points of Queens. They're currently trailing by 8 points. Remember, that vital point will help in their push for playoff qualification. This is Emmanuel Mboya with the line out throw. Who does he target?
Mboya throws, but the ball is won by Haman Humwa. That's the one bit of a game that Mboya has not been able to come in and execute well. Has cost Nakuru in the last 10 minutes. Yet another kick by Oforiworth. This one trickling all the way down. Quite unfortunately so for Nakuru, who definitely signaled their intention earlier on in the second half, and have actually been worthy competitors for Kenya Harlequins from what had actually been intended to be a whitewash. The respectable scoreline is definitely a lot that they can actually pick back. But still a bit of time remaining. I'm not actually concluding the game is done. The fat lady has not sung yet.
Yes, she hasn't sung. Also looking at it in terms of player transition, Nakuru have lost quite a number of players, and they have conceded a try from the veteran George Scott Olwatch.
The referee seems to have blown the whistle for something. A short-lived glory by George Scott Olwatch.
Well, that is his first try at a try on his return to the Kenya Cup. It really didn't count.
The referee wants to consult with the assistant referee on the far side before he can make his call. He calls for the try. Try good by Scott Olwatch. Kenya Harlequins 34, Nakuru 21. Loose ball, just bounced. Olwatch picked it up, no one touched it, shrugged off one. It's a very simple try and a welcome inclusion to the Kenya Cup rugby for George Scott Olwatch.
Well, it counted at the end. 5 points on his return to the Kenya Cup after close to a decade and a half. Remember, he played Kenya Cup rugby for Mwamba before moving to Uganda, where he ended up playing for Uganda's Rugby Cranes as well. But just looking at it in terms of Nakuru's performance, Nakuru is a side that has been going through a transition. Lost quite a number of players over the past few seasons. Few remaining stalwarts, the likes of Philip Kwame, Kelvin Omio, Edwin Makori, now steering the ship.
Extra 2 points are good. Kenya Harlequins 36, Nakuru 21. Martin Wanji in your picture there with the extra 2 points, and scoreline seems a bit more flattering than what the actual action has been over the 80 minutes played.
Yes, indeed, it has been a slugfest, and Nakuru just collapsing in the last 10 minutes. Remember, at 69 minutes, the scores are 22-21. Then they conceded that penalty try before George Scott Olwatch going over to build a 15-point margin.
Ball lost by Kenya Harlequins on the kickoff. Should be a Nakuru put in the scrum. And the body language just shows you that perhaps they're resigned to their fate, not looking as active and dynamic as they were earlier on. Donald Loach with ball in hand. He's signaling to his backs, winking at them. Perhaps just passing a secret message about the move they tried to execute. Nakuru bringing back dummy Master Njenga in the front row. Not too sure why. Manuel Mboya looks to be... Is that really a Manuel Mboya? Someone looks to be limping on his run. Perhaps the reason why Bwana Njenga, the dummy master, has been brought back onto the field of play. Mr. Donald Olwatch with the ball in hand. It is Makori. Nakuru only playing with 7 forwards. Edwin Makori had looked to head into the number 8 position, but went back onto flank. Ball has been kicked. Overcooked. As it will be an Nakuru penalty. Looked to have been an intentional kick. Well knowing that they had a penalty.
You can see the composure of Jeff Ominde. But like we said, Nakuru aside in transition, it will take a bit of time before they get to the levels of 2013, 2014 when they won back-to-back Kenya Cup titles. Jeff Ominde with that kick deep into territory. At this point of the game, the Wanyore, as they are fondly called, probably just looking for that bonus point by way of a fourth try to at least just add to their tally. Remember, the bigger picture for them is qualifying for the playoffs and from there launching the final charge for the Kenya Cup title.
Curry the line out deep within Kenya Harlequins territory. Easily won by George Kotolwatch. Misango knocked on by Baraza. Will be a scrum put in for Nakuru. I'm not so sure they look very excited about the prospect of getting into another scrum with Kenya Harlequins.
No, not at this point of the match. Not when you've exhausted your front row, recycled them, and also exhausted the replacements. This is Donald Watch with the scrum put in for Nakuru.
It looks to be uncontested. Thumping hit coming in from David Ambunya on the former Kenya Harlequins man Brian Swanton Maina.
Kick downfield from Eden Aguero. Massive kick, but it doesn't find touch. It finds Duncan Abuyeka, loses his footing. Sliced kick out into touch. Probably into the final play of this encounter. 36-21 is Queens firmly in the lead. But as Hillary said much earlier, the scoreline is flattering. Not a reflection of what we have seen on the field of play. Nakuru have given as good as they've gotten.
In the background there you can see the guys in red walking through for the next game that will see Impala playing against Nondescripts. Kenya Harlequins with the throw-in the line-out. Easily picked up by Baraza, keeps it up high. Almost looked like a flag post. Truck and trailer, no one was competing against them. That'll be scrum put in for Nakuru. Donald Loach with the ball in hand. Nakuru playing one man less in the forwards. Did see an uncontested scrum moments ago. Loach gets a ball out. Knocked on again by Brian Maina, picked up. Looks like it was by Eden Aguero. Kenya Harlequins still with the ball. Aaron Oforiworth digging in. Box kick over. Easily marked. That will still be a Kenya Harlequins ball for an early infringement. Mwangi Mushemi in your picture there, just not too happy about something he's observed. And Kenya Harlequins, as you'd expect, get in for another scrum.
Obviously, Queens knowing the right buttons to push. Nakuru look to be grimacing every time they look at the referee's signal and Queens' decisions for the scrum down. Finally, a piece of play there that is fluid. The advantage is with Nakuru. The penalty is quickly taken by Brian Maina. Loses his footing. He is slowed down by Tony Mutai. Tony Mutai wasn't 10. frantic close to this match. Nakuru in pursuit of a fourth try to get that bonus point. That was Emmanuel Mboya, weaved through one player. Donald Watch just waiting for his charges to arrive. This is Abuyeka, doesn't go anywhere but keeps the ball alive once again. Ominde with the knock-on. Will that be the last order of business in this match? Yes, it is. Full-time score here at the Rfuea ground in the first match of 2019 as the Kenya Cup resumes. Kenya Harlequin 36, Nakuru 21.
Your picture there, George Scott-Oloch just staying down on the ground in the spot of bother, but emphatic win at the end for Kenya Harlequins, 36-21, 22-21 for greater parts of the second half until the last 10 minutes implosion by Nakuru allows the Kenya Harlequins to register their second win on the trot, a very emphatic one, starting off 2019 in style. Kenya Harlequins 36, Nakuru 21, the full-time scores. Up next, Impala Saracens versus Nondescripts RFC in the second match of this match day 6 live transmission coming to you from the Rfuea grounds, courtesy of Bamba Sport.
Let's just catch a glimpse of the second half highlights. That was that beautifully executed try, and like we mentioned earlier, contender for try of the season. One-handed catch there from Duncan Abuyeka after Jeff Ominde had the vision. Just look at that. He fended off Aluda Beda to score a try. I don't think we'll see anything like that this season in the Kenya Cup or Enterprise Cup. That by a country mile is the try of the season. Unfortunately, Nakuru ending up on the wrong end of the result.
Actually, I believe a country mile, a county mile, a district mile, and even a village mile, that's actually one of the better tries I've actually seen in a while. That was the easiest try of the game. Big man on your picture there, George Scott-Oloch. You know, you would actually probably have expected a smaller man to score that try. But he was in the right place at the right time. They say, fortune favors the brave. Opportunity meets up with ambition. But this time that wasn't ambition, it was just opportunity meeting up with George Scott-Oloch, in my opinion. So in the picture there on white, Nondi's trying a bit of running up and about on the pitch. On the far side in red, you see Impala also doing a similar thing. We'll just go through some of the highlights in the game. That cross kick again coming up. There's a thing of beauty of Abuyeka, just picking the ball with one hand. Surely they're trained on this move. Beda Luda, none the wiser. Abuyeka picking the ball, showing exactly who's boss in that particular exchange. And that will definitely be the moment that will be termed as a try of the game.
The first 80 minutes of 2019 rugby is complete. Queens emerged victorious by 36-21 against Nakuru RFC. It was a rather cagey affair in the second half up until the last minute, where two tries were in favor of Queens, a penalty try and of course a last minute try, giving them, or rather sealing the win for Queens. I'm with the Nakuru RFC coach, Coach Ochola. How do you find, what's your assessment of the game?
Well, I think I'll give it up to Queens for the forward play. I think that's what won the game. I think we're a bit sloppy on defense, and definitely look at review and see how you can be able to improve before the next weekend's game against Homeboys.
You took the game at them in the second half up until the very end in the second half. What do you think you told? What did you tell them first of all at halftime, and what do you think happened in those last 3 minutes?
Well, I think what Queens did very well was use the set piece, and I think that did well. And I think Eden also had a field day when it regards to the two tries that he scored off first play. So I think just a bit of concentration of set piece that messes up. Definitely, worst thing is we get an injury, but loss definitely will bounce back, work on the mistakes we made, and look at how we move on from here.
You lost the bonus point at the very end. What does this mean again now going into the next game? Because you're still chasing for that playoff spot, which is the most important thing right now, yeah?
Well, for us, I think we take what we have. Queens gave us nothing. We still keep hunting. And look at how best we can get position ourselves to get to a playoff position.
All right, all the best, coach, for the upcoming games.
Thank you.
All right, that was the coach of Nakuru RFC. We want to talk with the winning coach right now, Coach Charles Cadovelis of Queens. Coach, what a nervy affair in the very, very end. Nakuru was so close for the better part of the second half, but at the very end, you managed to nick it in and seal that victory.
Yeah, good. I was quite impressed with the boys. They did well. You know, it's a sort of game you've come back from a break, so there'll obviously be some rustiness here and there, but they did the plan. We came out and did what we needed to do. The win plus a bonus point, which is very good for us. You know, Nakuru sitting in fourth place, in fifth, and we were fourth, like we talked earlier. Now you see, now we've built a 5-point gap on them, so that's really positive for us, and we just keep going, and I think we'll just get better.
Crucial points at the very end of the game, but it's 2 games in a row now. The second half has been a little bit quiet for your team. Have you noticed it, and are you going to address it?
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this before, yeah, and the last time, you know, when I was with you, we did talk about it, and it's things that we continue to address. What I preferred this time is that we were dominant. It was just now about putting the points on the board. So that's something that we'll be looking at and also talking about with the boys. But we also must appreciate that a lot of changes, combinations, different combinations coming from the break, so it'll get better as we go.
Your general activity also paying off, Scott. Influential again today. What do you make of him?
Oh yeah, I mean he's an enforcer. He brings some beef to the team. A very experienced player, and so he brings that experience and sort of calmness that we will need. And I'm very happy for him. He was able to get a try on his debut, and we continue building and continue fighting for positions.
Congratulations, coach. All the best for the upcoming games. All right. That was Coach Charles Cadovelis. All right, that's the first live game, live and free on Bamba Sport. We have another one that will be kicking off at exactly 4 p.m. Nondis facing Impala Saracens. Stay tuned.
Magnificent athlete. Rhodesia wins.
Join me, Mohammed Abubakar, on Football 254 every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. only on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans. Missed out on some weekend footballing action? Perhaps that last-minute winner? That controversial moment?
This is the Champions League headline being written.
or even some off-field drama.
Respect.
With the help of expert analysts and of course you the fans will be covering all matters football.
Character within these players is magnificent. Also during the World Cup, Hazard was at the top of his game.
Tune in to Monday Night Football with me, your host Mohamed Abubakar from 8:30 p.m. on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
Twenty teams, over 300 rising stars, and tons of stunning goals. Raw, uncut, and true to the game. It's the true spirit of Kenyan football. The National Super League, live on Bamba Sport, free for life.
Football 254 is back. Fresh face, fresh show. A show that brings you the best of Kenyan football from the Kenyan Premier League to the National Super League, magnifying all matters grassroots football and the national team. Join me, Mohamed Abubakar, on Football 254 every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. only on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
And we're back for the second fixture on double header weekend number 1 in 2019. Impala Saracens versus Nondis coming to you any moment from now. Earlier on, we saw Kenya Harlequin register a 36-21 win over Nakuru, a match that was played under searing conditions here at the Rfuea ground. And we are hoping that the 4 p.m. kickoff will be a lot more livelier. Cooler temperatures as Impala take on Nondis. Both teams had a blinding start to the season. Impala registering 4 wins on the trot before losing in Kakamega on match day 5. Nondis, on the other hand, began the season with 3 successive wins, including 2 major results over Homeboys and KCB. They have since lost their last 2 matches in a row, but are still within the Kenya Cup top 6. Any moment from now, the 2 sides will be making their way onto the field of play. We still do have matches in other parts of the country kicking off around this time. KCB against Mean Machine in Rfuea, Kabras Sugar up against the Oilers in Kakamega, Strathmore against Mwamba at the Strathmore ground in Madaraka, while Homeboys taking on Black Blood at the Jamhuri Park Showground. We just catch a glimpse of the players making their way into the field. Impala in the red and white strip, Nondis in the white strip with a hint of red. Lining up for the Impala Saracens, Edgar Obino, Daniel Ndome, Kelvin Rono, Edwin Gatungo, Eric Kere, Tyson Okoth, Elkins Musonye making his debut, his first appearance since moving from the Strathmore Leos. Steve Shama, Samson Onsomu the captain, Mark Kwemoe, Derek Mayar, Paul Mutsami, Sami Oliech, Quinto Ongo and Richard Sidindi. On the bench for the Saracens, Wambiri Chege, Steve Juma, Eric Kopondo, Elvis Oroko, Sevia Bet, Ishmael Mokaya, Brado Chieng and Antonio Rege. As we just get a confirmation of the Impala Saracens lineup on your screen there, and they're coached by former Impala Saracens man, former Kenya international Frank Ndong.
The man with a beautiful pass. For Nondis, Ian Jenga, Francis Mutuku and Eric Shimoli continue their partnership in the front row. Brian Jenga and Brian Sine also continue the favored lock combination for Nondis. Levis Ocheng, Eric Okoma and Steven Odhiambo in a refurbished Nondis back row. Number 9, Ian Mabwa, former Impala man, will be playing alongside Samuson Osomu, who incidentally was the person he claimed to have been his rugby hero and mentor. It will be a very interesting battle at the halfback position. The man in the center there, the referee, Constant Cap, still sticking to the shade of pink. Nothing to be ashamed about. And Makwe Moe with the ball in hand, set to kick us off in this game.
Indeed, as I just mentioned a few moments ago, hoping for a lot more livelier competition between the two sides. Remember, the temperatures slightly easing off. It should be interesting. Nondis boosted by the return of the wily and experienced Fielden Sinei. Always a joy to watch at number 10. But Impala have an answer in Mark Kwemoe. He doesn't cut the figure of someone threatening until he gets the ball. And that man with the ball, Samuel Lech, it has been a minute since we saw him in Kenya Cup action. Edwin Gatungo, beautiful pass to Paul Mutsami.
Clearly the script has been set. Impala looking to play the quick ball off, trying to stretch Nondi's left, right and center. Not keen on doing any pick and drives. On Somu getting the ball out. Kwemoe breaking through, almost passing all the way, but placing the ball down on Somu, there to recycle. Looking very productive for Impala. Pops the ball out, they've got numbers out. Lectin going to contact. Onsomo getting it out. Mutsami driving the ball into contact. Trial is with the Kenya Sevens team. That looks to have actually been challenged over. Or is it not? Levis Ocheng looks to have won the ball against a run of play.
Levis Ocheng, the former Kisumu and Kabras man, filling in at number 7 in the continued absence of Captain Fidel Olo. Olo still serving his suspension following that red card when Nondis played against Mwamba and lost. This is Moses Begi searching run from the former Kenyatta University fullback. Indeed, a sprightly start to this game from both sides, Hilary.
Nondis trying to give as much as they've received earlier on. Brian Sinai, younger brother to Fielden Sinai, in your picture, trying to rummage, create some bit of space. Francis Mutuku, former Kabras man, picking up onto the ball. Almost feels like some of these players have just been all over the park. Safari getting a bit of space, has got one man supporting him, elects not to pass, goes all the way. Does he have it? Desperate tackle coming in, meters off from the Impala try line. Referee blows for an offside, and Nondis have a well-deserved penalty after soaking up pressure for the initial minute of this game.
But you just feel Safari was a bit unsure as he got into the final zone of his run. He could have done a lot more. He could have gotten that 5-pointer, but as it so stands, it is Nondis with the advantage. Fielden Sinei just looking to find touch. Nondis keeping faith in their forwards as they look to set up a platform for an attack.
We've seen this on a couple of occasions. Nondis managing to utilize their drive over onto the maul. If they actually can get their hands onto the ball, they'll be very important. I'm certain that's something that Impala are very wary about.
You know, earlier on in the pre-match build-up, just talked about the side's blinding start to the season. Nondis won their opening 3 games as the ball is claimed there in the line out by Brian Sinei, setting up a foundation there for Nondis. They are asking questions of Impala as they drive forward.
Eric Kere trying to reach in and bog the ball down, but Nondis is losing their footing. Watch out for the Nondis number 9, the live wire, Ian Mabwa, former Impala Saracens player. Started out his rugby at Impala. Referee Constant Cup playing advantage for infringement on the offside at the base. Nondi is trying to dig in. Picks and drives have been one of the more telling parts of the game. Levi Zachingis trying to hold that up, the ball popping out. Steve Odhiambo gets in but held up, knees onto the ground. Samson Nsomu just trying to charge on his teammates. Eric Okoma picks the ball, places it onto the deck. Nothing too dangerous at this moment in time. Francis Mutuku the ball but knocked on. The referee will blow the whistle. Calls up Samson Nsomu, just trying to perhaps stamp his authority earlier on in the match. There was an infringement right from the line out that the referee called. You almost fancy that Nondis will try perhaps to hit the line out again, maybe try and set up another line out.
They certainly will.
A drive from the line out.
They certainly will. They have trusted their systems throughout this season. They're looking a lot fitter, a lot sharper this season than we have seen them in previous seasons. And that is something good. It would be great to see Nondis in the playoffs after years of missing out. Remember, they are the record Kenya Cup champions, 17 titles to their name. No one else comes close. Impala second with 10 titles. Their last title was in 2009. Nondi's last title was in 1998.
Nondis electing to go in for the scrum. Ian Mabwa, the man with the ball in hand, talked about him earlier. Live wire, watch out for him. Playing against his, what you probably term pupil master, Samson Nsomu. Samson Nsomu looks to have actually changed his hairstyle in the new year. Almost looked to be someone who's perhaps Bible carrying man on Sunday. Rugby curling ball man on Saturday and the Bible one on Saturday. Counter drive from Impala. Steve Odhiambo not having a lot to play with, still manages to keep it. Ian Mabwa playing the ball to Njenga. Safari picks the ball. Nondis leaving dangerously. Mutuku badging up, solid defending by Impala, not having any of this. Nondis electing to try and get a bit more luck on the blind side. The Impala defense is also solid on that side. Mabwa has got options on the left and the right. Does he get over? No, he does not. The ball has been turned over. Impala getting the turnover after some very solid defending. Levis Ocheng, they're just getting a bit carried away. And Impala must be thanking the shooting star that popped up moments before that happened.
As Sami Oliech prepares to find territory from the penalty, which he does. And Hillary, just talking about the two sides run up to the season. Nondis and Impala starting the season on a great footing. Nondis registering 3 wins on the trot. They claim the scalps of homeboys on KCB along the way. And then just seemingly running out of steam in their last 2 matches, going down to defeats against Mwamba and Queens, while Impala registered 4 wins on a row, but the way they pulled off those wins was pretty close. They were caught out when they played against Cabras in Kakamega, and these two sides meeting up today, redemption time, probably a time to get the season back on track with the playoffs in mind.
I think both sets are trying to fuse in a bit more of the blended external talent that has come into the team. Nondis looked to have actually gotten the act straight earlier in the season, but the match against Kenya Harlequins exposed the underbelly. In that particular match, Captain Vidal Babunolo getting sent off and still currently serving his ban from that particular game. And it'll be keen to see the level of character that Nondis will be able to pick up onto this. Impala have also been able to bounce back from that heavy loss against Cabras. And you've actually mentioned they've had very narrow wins in the season, but it also gives you a different story that they've got into a habit of winning as well. So much as the win margin has been quite narrow, they already understand and know what it means to actually pull off a win. And that makes it a potent team, especially once they can actually blood in all the new players that they've been able to blood into the team. Ball on deck. Nondis struggling to actually retain the possession, which they do. Ian Mabwa at the back, playing out the ball to the blind. Francis Mutuku picking the ball. Nothing too much separating this. Ian Jenga shrugs off the first and the second, twists and turns. Mabwa, ball knocked on. Unfortunately, at the centers, it'll be a scrum put in for Impala. Impala taking their time, not in any hurry to set up the scrum. Looking much heavier compared to Nondis. Samson Onsom with the ball. Places it in. Dummy from the back of the scrum. Thumping tackle coming through. Nondis just sending the entire battalion through, but Impala managing to retain the ball possession. That looks like it's been turned over. Indeed it is. Great work there from the combination of Moses Begi and Steve Odhiambo, the former Black Blood players who've definitely been a revelation at Nondis. He's winning that ball up and allowing Fielden Sine to get another punt deep down for Nondis to try yet another line out. Sine show with the kick, lovely kick by Sine. Gets him actually about 7-8 meters off from the try line. And all of a sudden, Impala have to convert from attacking to defense.
And definitely Nondis finding themselves in a place where they want to be, just looking to get a launch pad to go for points on the board, be it 5 or 3. But they're certainly in the right part of the pitch. 10 minutes into this match, it has been lively at the beginning. Just hoping that both sides can sustain this momentum for the remaining 70 minutes.
Nondizuka Francis Mutuku with the ball in hand. Stamp the ball goes all the way to the back. Easily fielded by Levis Ochieng. Nondis trying to set up their mole, which indeed they do. Elkins Musonia looks to be jumping on the back of some of the Nondis players on the far end here. Looks to have done enough. Stephen Odhiambo almost gets up but passes the ball back to Impala, who now field the ball. Kere, Kwemoi, Butterfingers. Doyando rushes up, but the ball goes dead. It will be a scrum put in for Nondis, still deep within Impala territory.
And moments ago, we saw Steve Odhiambo with that audacious reverse pass to one of his teammates. I think Odhiambo has been one of the revelations for Nondis this season. A lot more influence whenever he plays. That combination between him and Ian Mabwa has been part of the reason Nondis have been quite a force to reckon with so far in the Kenya Cup.
You really get to see number 8 in the scrum half connecting and understanding how to maintain the pace of the game, but these two individuals look to have actually mastered that art. Mabwa speaking to Odhiambo. Not so sure how secretive that is, because he just put the ball slightly covering his mouth, but still backed the instructions audibly so. Odhiambo picking the ball, gets it out to Mabwa. Moses Begi with the ball. Does Begi have the space? Drives in, thumping tackle on Begi. Still, Nondis retaining the ball position. Eric Okoma. Nondis still asking all the questions. Impala definitely giving all the answers currently. Mabwa. Sine almost inches out. Nondis smelling blood right now. Mabwa. Almost looked like it was lost in traffic, but Nondis still retaining the ball possession. Referee calls for an offside. And surely Nondis should perhaps look for the 3 points. They've been there camped for the last 3-4 minutes. And surely they should try and get something, some just rewards for their foray. Which indeed looks like to be the case. Or is it not? Coming in, yes, they've called for the 3 points.
What a way to break the ice after that opening 13 or so minutes. It has been frenetic, but it has been more in favor of Nondis. But for Impala, this has been an all too familiar position for them. Finding themselves on the back foot and just inching their way into games and victories.
You recall when Impala played Mid Machine at the Rfuea grounds, Machine had an emphatic lead But Impala just showed character and eked their way back in, winning that one by, was it 2 points? And Sinai good with the 3 points. Nondi is getting into the lead. Nondi 3, Impala 0. The scoreline on the screen is a bit off. We'll correct it shortly. Yes, it has been corrected. Impala 0, Nondi 3.
And certainly this sets up the stage for an exciting 67 or so minutes. Both teams giving as good as they will receive. And we've already seen Nondis showing their hand early on, leaving nothing under the table. Now picture there, Willis Foxy Ojal, the Nondis head coach. I wonder why they call him Foxy.
I bet he's probably outfoxed himself from very many situations. Has done pretty well with this Nondis team, preparing them well. Definitely showed flashes of brilliance in the 7th circuit. And what a start to the Kenya Cup season 2018-2019. Samson Nsomu just dilly-dallying in there. Moses Begi should have finished the tackle. Looked to have been knocked on by Richard Sidindi. Gather power. Quinto Ongo's face, the grimace shows the entire story. That looks to be another scrum put in. Frank Dong has a similar expression on his face.
He is flanked by the man in the dark glasses, Oscar Osir Osula, Kenya Sevens legend, assistant coach at Impala Saracens.
Ian Mabwa is reaching out to speak to Fielden Sinei. Not so sure what the secret potion is. But interestingly missed out his key man, Steve Odhiambo, in this communication loop. Mabwa to Sinei. Thumping run from the center. Nondi still retaining the ball possession, thumping their way through.
Those are great running lines from Eric Gitao, just gaining 3 or 4 crucial meters. The momentum still with Nondis. Mabwa looks for that ball. His delivery to Fielden Sinei, attempting the drop goal. Does it have what it takes to go over the sticks? No, there was a penalty looming, and you could see the wit of Fielden Sinei.
And Sinei has quickly motioned for the tee to be brought through. He looks to be having an attempt at 3 points. Definitely looking at trying to ensure that each and every foray into the Impala territory comes off with something.
And in his first start of the season, Fielden Sinei playing like he's never been away. So much control he's showing into this game. You can just see how authoritative he is at number 10, with that efficient delivery coming through from Ian Mabwa after the hard work from Steve Odhiambo. I think I now understand the 8, 9, 10 combination.
Indeed, it does. Clearly, in this particular foray, you see it working.
There must be a hard worker somewhere, and that hard worker is Steve Odhiambo.
Yes, he's definitely doing all the donkey work. Sinei looks to be done to do the finishing. Takes his time, slots it. Extra 3, Nondis extending the lead 6 points to 0. The man in charge and responsible for all the points so far is the man with the red cap, engineer Fielden Sinei. Does it easily? Can tell you for a fact it's not as easy as he makes it look like. Nondis with the early dictation in this game, but like you clearly said, Impala have been in this situation very many times in various matches this season, and they've actually been able to dig deep and come back in. That kickoff was just let to get all the way out to be a Nondis line out. Could have almost just fancied if someone was there to try and pick it up, it would have actually opened up for Impala.
Francis Mutuku's line out throw claimed by Brian Sinei. That was Eric Okoma with the carry. Ian Mabwa just marshalling his players to rally in support. Plays it back down to Fielden Sinei. Spots that pocket downfield. Boots the ball down, but it is claimed by Quinto Ongo. That pass looked forward. It doesn't matter. Interplay between Ongo and Richard Sidindi. Ball is kept alive. Paul Mutsami has played this season in midfield for Impala, converted from the back row. Samson Onsomu. Samuel Liech is unable to field that pass from Onsomu.
Liech definitely looking very rusty, not the Samuel Liech that we expect with the fluid passing, the ability to go on and keep the defense line guessing. And I'm certain he's not too happy with that performance so far.
Samuel Liech, he was a part of the Kenya Simbas squad that participated at the Rugby World Cup repechage in Marseille, France in November. That was the quest for the final berth to the Rugby World Cup taking place in Japan later on this year. Kenya, of course, unsuccessful in their quest, finishing bottom of the pile. It was Canada who won that qualification tournament to proceed to Japan, but plenty of experience gathered by the players. And this is one player who has had quite a bit of exposure over the past few years. Derek Maya, former Kenya Sevens international. The ball is played to Edwin Gatungo, one of the players who has managed to rise through the ranks of the Impala seconds, has featured in several of the Kenya Cup matches this season. Samson Onsomu marshals his troops to avail that ball. Eric Kere in his first start of the season, former Kenya Simbas international. Mark Kwemoi looks to kick it behind the Nondis defense. The contest in the air is tentative. Eventually Kwemoi fields that ball, evading one defender. The tackle comes through from Steve Odhiambo. Kwemoi just trying to avail it. I'm sure Constant Cap will be blowing his whistle any moment now. Nondis, have they forced the turnover? They look to have, and this is Moses Begi. Cheeky steal from that. Eric Okoma. Ian Mabwa. Field and Sine. Kick high. Only as far as Richard Sidindi. Richard Sidindi started out his club rugby at Kisumu RFC, made the switch to Impala a few seasons ago. The advantage remains with Nondis. It is Field and Sine to find touch from the ensuing penalty. We're halfway through the first half. Nondis leading by 6 points to 0. The 6 points coming off the boot of Field and Sine in his first start of the season for Nondis. And you have to admire the way he has taken charge of this match, controlling the game both in terms of tactics and with the boot.
You've got to admire how Field and Sine controls the game. I've rarely seen a match where Field and Sine has started the match comfortably controlling, whether at mid-machine or at Nondis, and the team that he's been playing for has eventually lost. Has been found guilty on a couple of occasions for not being able to be solid on his defense line, but his ability to read and his field kicking abilities are definitely a plus for any team.
And it's a pity players like Field and Sine have been off the radar from national team selection, but of course it comes with the career line that he has chosen. An engineer by day obviously doesn't have all that time to avail himself for matches, but when he does, he shows up.
The scrum put in for Nondis. Impala just not making enough of the turnover from the line out. Francis Mutuku, not being his razor-sharp self, has been featured as one of the better line-out throwers in Kenya, but in this particular match, not showing that pedigree that we've been accustomed to. Moba placing the ball in, and Nondis coming off a bit weaker on that push. Brian Oyando, twisting and turning. Oyando gets into the forwards. Never see wingers doing that.
I think Brian Oyando ran into the committee of experts. They curtailed his run, and the advantage swings the way of Impala. Remember, the action is coming to you live and free on Bamba Sport.
Well, it goes to show that he's actually a courageous man, but courage is not always matched with wisdom.
A lot less scrum downs in this match, Hillary, in comparison to the early kickoff between Queens and Nakuru.
I believe perhaps the ability for the sun to cool off a bit and maybe just a better chance to introspect right after lunch. Has allowed both teams to settle in quicker into this one.
This is Samuel Lech with the kick downfield. There seems to be nobody on the chase. The ball claimed by Sine. This is Okoma. He does well to present it. Ian Mabwa looking for that ball. It is stolen by Daniel Ndome. Eric Kere just there to secure the ruck. Samson Onsomu plays it short on the blind. Katungo looked to have come in from the side. It doesn't matter. This is Edgar Obino. Interesting face play from Impala. Tyson Okoth, former Kenya under-20 captain. Referee Constant Cap playing the advantage. Kwemoe with the ball out wide. This is Mutsami. The step and runs into contact. He is still on his feet. He finds the floor. Does he present the ball? Yes, he does. Onsomu looks for that ball under pressure from Eric Gitao. But referee Constant Cap has called for an infringement. Penalty is quickly taken. Beautiful reverse pass from Onsomu. Oliech with the ball out wide. Beautiful face play coming through from Impala. Hillary, they seem to finally be sparking into life.
In the jungle, you'd never imagine an Impala kicking a lion, but that's exactly what's happening right now. The red lion on the cosh. Impala doing all the running and getting a penalty deep within Nondi's territory. Much more concerted, better approach to controlling the match from Impala. Better than we've actually seen in the past 24 minutes of this game. Impala consulting a bit, looked to have elected to go for the scrum, and in your picture there, Eric Okoma, the man who lost the ball in contact, seems to be struggling a bit. He's picked himself up. 34 years of age, still playing, one of the stalwarts for this Nondi's outfit.
And another stalwart there was George Odhiambo, the Nondi's physio, long-serving physio, also served a long stretch with the Kenya Sevens before being replaced by Lamek Bogonko. One of the fine gentlemen of the game, George Odhiambo. This is Samson Onsomu. Looked to be in a bit of confusion there with Steve Sharma. Sharma claims that ball. Has he gone over the chalk? Yes, he has. It is a try. Catching Nondi's unaware. That was a quick reaction from Steve Sharma, claiming that ball and just racing clear, stretching over the chalk to go over for the 5-pointer.
Nondi's caught napping. Sharma definitely showing his sharp. Try good for Impala. Coach Frank Dong just walking up, trying to perhaps speak some instructions across to Derek Mayer. Try and get the team to understand what they need to do well, what they've been doing well, and what they need to insist on executing. Try good for Impala, well deserved after a nice build-up. Queen Tongo with a chance to add the extra 2 for Impala. The extra 2 go astray. The scores remain Impala 5, Nondi 6. 27 minutes played already in the second televised game of match day 6 from the Rfuea grounds.
And they just see that Steve Sharma claimed that ball from the loose, and he knew he had done enough, was well aware, just stretched his hand over the chalk for that 5-pointer. 1 point separating the two sides. It has been interesting, it has been exciting so far. We still have about 13 minutes to play in the first half of this match. This is the second match of a double-header coming to you live and free on Bamba Sport. Remember, earlier on we did have the 2 p.m. kickoff between Queens and Nakuru. Queens winning that match by 36 points to 21. Current scores here, it is Nondi's 6, Impala 5. Nondi's in the white strip, Impala there in our picture in the red strip. Just getting a bit of a talking to from head coach Frank Dong. I've never heard Frankie raise his voice, Hillary.
He doesn't have the ability to raise a voice. He's a very controlled individual, but you can see the tension building up. He definitely knows that they have Nondi's under the cosh, but perhaps also feeling that the team is not taking all the chances. A deserved water break for him to go around and just whisper some of the instructions that he needs to get across to them, to just tie the M up and ensure that they can execute as expected. Water break seems to have been completed. The team's getting back onto the field of play.
Just issuing a few more instructions to Samuel Liech. We've seen Samuel Liech play at fly half and at fullback. It is an interesting selection to see him play at outside center this afternoon, but they call him a utility back, so he's showing all his abilities across the positions that he can play in. Constant Cup ready to signal the restart, and it is that man Phil Densine to get us underway. Conditions slightly cooler. At 2 p.m. it was searing hot, and I'm thinking, Hillary, that it probably contributed to the level of play that we saw between Nakuru and Quins. This is Moses Begi, caught in two minds, running into Rfuea, who just looks to slow down his momentum. There's an almighty contest for the ball. Eric Kere. The ball is eventually claimed by Gatungo. Brilliant pass there to Richard Sidindi. Inside pass to Derek Maya. He was unable to field that ball, just slowing down the momentum that Impala were building.
After the tackle on Maya by Brian Oyando, he just posed like he was perhaps by the beach drinking pina colada on the side. Maya just quite unfortunate there, apologizing to his teammates, knowing very well that they actually had Nondis on the coach there. And Nondi is currently living quite dangerously.
Well, that's a phrase we have used with Impala throughout our live broadcasts this season. It is interesting to see the shoe on the other foot. Samuel Liech with that big kick out into touch. Impala will go for the line out. Obviously fancying their chances in the forwards as well. In our picture there is former Kenya under-20 international Daniel Ndome, a one-club man, has come through the ranks at Impala, right from the academy through to the seconds, and now a regular fixture for the Impala Cup, Kenya Cup side. That was a bit messy in the line out. Yes, indeed it was. Referee Constant Cup calls for the scrum down. It will be an Impala put-in. But you just feel the effects of that festive season break creeping up on both sides. Yes, they have shown flashes of brilliance, but they've also decided to go into lulls, and when they do, the errors creep in. They have creeped in over the last 5 or 6 minutes.
And I think they're allowing Impala to just grow into this particular game. Impala just showing their dominance in the forwards, being able to try and risk it all in the backs, and definitely creating space after 3 or 4 faces. Mutsami running back in, trying to drain the Nondis defense. Nondis, of course, not having one of the stalwarts, Anes Ngong, one of the more reliable forwards. Mutsami loses the ball on the turnover. Sine with the opportunity and responsibility to punt it down. He does quite emphatically, almost to the half side. And Sidindi throws the ball. Oyando almost gets Ongo. Ongo rushes back, strikes with the first and the second line of defense. Tackled eventually. Looks to have almost lost the ball. Ball has been firmly held, and the referee has correctly called. Ongo just not allowing Steve Odhiambo to get that ball, and Odhiambo getting the high five from Levi Ocheng, and all of a sudden Impala just losing out on an opportunity to perhaps make it a bit more uncomfortable for Nondis.
And those set of fans seemed unimpressed with that piece of play from Ongo.
Sonia ameingia kapewa jezi number 8.
This is Francis Mutuku bracing himself for the line-out throw for Nondis. 9 minutes remain in the first half. 1 point separates the two sides. It is Nondis in the white and red, leading against Impala in the red shirts. Line-out throw is messy, but it is still a contest. Eventually claimed by Impala. Onsomu with the offload. That was Eric Kere just going into contact. Onsomu releases the ball out wide. This is Rfuea. He has been a rather quiet figure in this match so far. He presents that ball, but there was an infringement. Constant Cup looking to penalize the offending party, as you just catch a glimpse of some of the fans there. Elkins Musonye on debut today for Impala Saracens. Started his club rugby at Western Bulls before moving to the Strathmore Leos. Has been a rather quiet figure in this match. The man they call Fonto. And there is a long story around his nickname. It would probably take live broadcast and commentary as well.
We'll look for the shorter version at the halftime break. Impala kicking deep into Nondi's territory. Kwemoi. No shoulder is the verdict. Just shrugged down, and Kwemoi just demonstrating on the wrong person.
And probably that's the most active we've seen Eric Elkins Musonye in this match.
Kwemoi is quite a pest.
Oh, that ball claimed in the air by Steve Sharma from the line-out. Lineouts haven't been spectacular, but the reaction from Impala has been sharp. This is Edgar Obino. He will trust himself to go over the chalk.
Indeed,
yes,
he
he
has.
does.
Try good. You spoke it, and Obino heard you. Impala 10 on the 6. And Impala now beginning to show definite testament that they're not only just ball hogging and retaining ball possession, but they're also chalking up the points as well.
Let's look at that strong feet from Edgar Obino, knowing where he was and just placing the ball once he knew he had done enough. That is the go-ahead try for the Impala Saracens. Quinto Ongo was unsuccessful with his first kick. He is tasked with the kicking duties. Yes, that is how hot it is here at the Rfuea ground, that fans have to resort to ice cream and other cooling beverages, such as iced tea.
Second bite at the cherry, successful by Ongo. Impala in the lead, 12 points to 6. Ongo just atoning for his initial miss, and Impala look to be slowly taking charge of this game.
Yeah, that sprightly start from Nondis has fizzled out as we're heading into the last 5 minutes of the match. Fielden Sine restarting this match for the second time.
Fielden Sine with the restart. Great hang time on the ball, allowing his teammates to get in and retrieve the ball, which they do. And looks to have been knocked on by Levis Ocheng. After Mutsami looked to have been pouncing onto it, and that should be a scrum put in for Impala. Or is it not? I think Mabu has the ball. I think the call is knock on by Impala and Nondis put in. Great ball there by Fielden Sine. Great hang time. Just allows all the guys trying to challenge for the ball to get there. Wait for a couple of minutes before the ball ties down. And one of the reasons why Nondis have been able to retrieve that ball and have the scrum put in. Ian Mabwa with the put in. Much better Nondi scrum. Gitao beats the first, the second, and the third. Has been one of the great runners from the Nondi's backline. Mabwa is out to Njenga. Route one approach. Obino stopping it. Mabwa spreads it out. Sine gets the ball out to Odhiambo. Odhiambo does well. Ball still stays out for Nondis. Mabwa. It's the ball out to Levis Ocheng. Telegraph by Ocheng. Holding on. Or is it not? Mabwa still has the ball. Njenga. Shimoli. Great interplay by the front rows. Steve Odhiambo breaks through on Somu. Still has the ball. Mabwa gets it to Levis. Isolated in the tackle by Impala, but Nondi still retaining the ball possession. Looking to try and get something positive before the halfway line. Shoelace tackle, goes all the way down, does not release the ball. Is that a penalty? No, it is not. Mabwa. Mutuku goes in. Nondi still retaining the ball. Ian Jenga. Nondi's on the 11th face. Much more spirited display than we've seen in the past 20 minutes.
Indeed, as we head into the last 3 minutes of the first half, 12-6 in favor of Impala, but it is Nondis with the momentum as they enter the Impala 22, just looking to get crucial points before the break. And as we speak about crucial points, William Juguna, who is part of the commentary team, has been recovering from chicken pox. It's not comfortable getting it when you're a grown-up, but we wish you, me and Hila, wishing you a speedy recovery.
All this, William, will have the war stories once you recover. Impala winning that particular interplay, and there's a turnover ball holding on, and they quickly scratch it, realizing that Nondis were slow off the base end, breaking through. Kwemoi, the first and the second. Kwemoi still with the ball, passes it across, tackle good by Nondis. Looking very ominous. Impala. Kere and Musonye combining well. Musonye pulling over. Impala looking to have numbers out in the wide. Samuel Leach is losing the ball, and Jenga picking it up. Mago to Odhiambo. Odhiambo gets the ball out to Brian Sinei. The Flyers' younger brother. Body's piling over, but Nondi still retaining the ball possession. Shimoli. Nondi still having a penalty advantage. But Impala just putting in the numbers there. Kwemoi holding on. Kwemoi is quite a pest in this game, doing all the niggly little things that can irritate someone.
The ball beautifully claimed by Steve Sharma. Of course, Kwemoi just looking to rile his former teammate Ian Mabwa. Familiarity breeds contempt, they say.
Someone needs to perhaps speak to Kwemoi and just tell him to calm out. Unfortunately, such little things have the ability also to lower a level of concentration from what is required to execute in the game. And Philden Sine, who's been very stellar on his kicking today, gets a chance to perhaps give Nondis a platform to attack one last time before the halfway whistle is blown. Not one of his better kicks, but he manages to get into the 10-meter mark for a line-out for Nondis.
6 points separating the two sides. It is Impala leading by 12 points to 6. They rallied from a 6-0 deficit after Philden Sine had kicked home 2 penalties. Before tries from Steve Sharma and Edgar Obino, as well as that conversion from Quinto Ongo, giving Impala the 12-6 lead. Sine with the weighted pass there. But the advantage once again swings the way of Impala. We have done the 40 minutes. We're now on constant caps time. Remember, there have been stoppages here and there. But more importantly, a lot less scrum downs than they were in the opening match between Queens and Nakuru. It was always going to be difficult playing the first match of 2019 after a 4-week break. Oscar Osir looking unmoved. Frank Ndong broke into a bit of a smile. They look like two secret agents discussing a subject that they're observing somewhere.
Indeed, both teammates and members of the Stella Impala class from 1999 till about 2005. Both also great servants of the sport in Kenya, having been capped for the national team. Samson Onsomo breaking through Ian Mabwa. And again, Ongo just doesn't put his fingers in. Buena Safari picking the ball for Nondis. Punts it ahead, trying to create a bit of confusion. It's knocked on forward. If he picks it up, it'll be a penalty. Does he? He realizes that that is not the wisest thing. Credit to him. And Kwemoi seems to be trying to really get into Mabua's skin. Referee still playing advantage for the knock-on. He called it back for the scrum put-in. No advantage, no real advantage there by Nondis. But the one thing you actually get a feeling is that once the game breaks down as it has been, it actually favors Impala more than Nondis. Impala have been the proficient execution merchants of the broken play.
As Nondis have thrived on structure and continuity, but as you said, it is the merchants of broken play who are leading as we head into halftime. This is Mabua. Pass is short. Impala looking to force the turnover. Mabua just looked to be turning to constant cap for solace.
Penalty has been placed for Nondis. Pretty much get a feeling that Sine will try a drop kick. Yes, indeed he does. If it goes in well and good, if it doesn't, he'll get a chance for the 3. And the drop kick is good for Nondis. Sine adding the extra 3. And at the halfway mark, Nondis 9, Impala 12. All Nondis points scored by the man in the red skull cap. Field and Sine Impala with a try from Sharma, who picked up a very speculative ball off the back of the scrum. And Eric Obino with the other try. At the halfway mark, Impala with a slender 12-9 advantage. 40 minutes still left to play in this game. Impala 12, Nondis 9.
And just a confirmation of the halftime score there on our screens. Impala with tries from Edgar Obino and Steve Sharma, alongside that conversion from Quinto Ongo, going into a 12-9 lead against Nondis, who scored all their points off the boot of Field and Sine. Any moment now we will be going into the highlights from the first half. And there we can see that was Mark Kwemoe who got this game underway. In that moment, Steve Sharma was arrested. That crunching tackle on Moses Begi from Richard Sidindi. The fans were impressed by that. Field and Sine then got the opening 3 points of this game on the board with that penalty for adding a second. And there was this moment here when Brian Oyando met a committee of experts who curtailed his intentions of going over the chalk. Samuel Yech with that brilliant outside pass, but the smothering tackle that came through from Field and Sine was amazing. But so was this try from Steve Sharma, showing great vision. Seemed to be telepathy between him and Samson Onsomo. He was closer to the try line. He had the momentum. He had the length, the breadth, the reach, and went over for the game's opening try. And then there was this moment, Quinto Ongo danced through a couple of defenders. But once again, his momentum was curtailed and he was guilty of holding on to that ball. And then Edgar Obino just barged his way over the chalk. Quinto Ongo was sure the ensuing conversion as Impala went 12-6 up. And as the game came to an end, or actually the first half came to an end, there was this moment before this happened. Samson Onsomu thought he was clear. Anyway, those are the highlights from the first half. We're going into a break and we will see you shortly for the second half.
Mohammed Abubakar on Football 254 every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. only on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
I started playing rugby a long time ago in high school, 2006. So I started playing St. Mary's, then eventually when I finished high school I came to Queens. Yeah. So the high school I went to, rugby was quite a big sport, and yeah, so just that and like having to play in the top sport in the school. So I used to play soccer, but soccer wasn't a big sport in Saint, so I shifted to rugby. Yeah, there's a bit of influence from a couple of my uncles who played for the club, so sort of like set my path straight here to Queens. I don't know, to me I think there's a sort of prestige playing for Queens. It's an old club as well, and also the influence from my uncles just like made me stick here. I haven't moved since. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a PE teacher at Braeburn, just down the road here near Kangware. So that's basically my 8 to 5, and I come here in the afternoons, in the evening. Yeah, so my influences in rugby started like when I was much younger. So there were a couple of players. I supported the Springboks. So there are a couple of players I looked up to in terms of playing. I looked up to Jacques Fourie very much, Franz Stein. In terms of coaching, I actually don't have anyone that I'm following keenly, but hopefully I'll pick a few of those up. I've played for so many years, I have a few years left. So yeah, just leaving this club in a better place than I found it. Yeah. Coaching, definitely. I enjoy to coach. I do some coaching also on the side, and definitely that's an avenue I'd like to pursue also.
Missed out on some weekend footballing action, perhaps that last-minute winner. That controversial moment.
This is the Champions League, headline being written.
Or even some off-field drama.
Respect.
With the help of expert analysts and of course you, the fans, will be covering all matters football.
Character within these players is magnificent. Also during the World Cup, Hazard was at the top of his game.
Tune in to Monday Night Football with me, your host Mohammed Abubakar, from 8:30 p.m. on Bamba Sport, your home of true fans.
I think I started playing competitive rugby in school when I was in Saints. I started in class 4, but didn't get any game time until about class 6 because we didn't have very many fixtures at that age grade. But the most serious, well, when I started playing men's rugby was probably when I was 17, right here at Kenya Harlequins. I did actually play basketball for one season in school, but throughout the season all I could think about was how I was missing rugby. I think I've always liked rugby, and it's just something about having to be on a pitch and control your aggression that does it for me, because it teaches you how to control your aggression as well. I think Queens was mostly because my family has always been associated with Queens. So growing up, I came and watched Queens games. A couple of the players I looked up to, the first players I looked up to were probably Queens players. So I think I already had that connection since I was a young kid. So when it came to choose what club to play for, it was relatively easy. I think it's a culture. I think it's a culture around Queens. It's the culture we're trying to cultivate is basically family-friendly, high skills and high fitness kind of rugby. And that can only be built over years and years of being a club. So I think Queens and Nondis being the oldest clubs in Nairobi, some of the clubs with the best culture. So that's why I think I chose Queens. I work for a recruitment agency called Career Directions Limited, and yeah, that's what I do 9 to 5. But before that, I actually just graduated uni last year, so this is my first year in a working job, so yeah. At the moment, well, I could say position-wise, because being a second row, Brody Retallick is definitely a player I look up to and try to emulate on the pitch. But anyone who's playing for the All Blacks right now, if they grabbed a rugby ball, I would be happy to watch them play. Hopefully playing rugby somewhere exotic, I think. I would like to, at one point, try and get a full professional contract. So hopefully that comes through and I'll be playing somewhere soon.
Welcome back to the Rfuea grounds for the second half of this pulsating fixture. At the interval, Impala slightly ahead, 12 points against Nondis 9. And Impala having a better percentage of the ball possession, have also been able to unleash a bit more creativity. And that man, Makwe Moy and Samson Onsomu, have been a thorn in the flesh for Nondis. 40 minutes still left in this game. Match day 6 of the Kenya Cup. The man here pictured there, Samson Onsomu, one of the protagonists from the first half. But Fielding Sine with the red cap, the man who scored all the points for Nondis, the one to start off the second half. Ball easily retrieved by Eric Kere, other center. Impala finding acres of space at the back and managing to land the ball deep back into Nondis territory for Rowelli Dove. Defense of the Nondis line out. Nondis not in any hurry to get back into the line out. Francis Mutuku taking his time, as is his entire line out. Eventually they get there, should be able to proceed. Ball goes up, picked up by Odhiambo, quickly off to Mabwa. Sine, leg to go blind. Box kick up into the air. Safari pick it up, Sidindi. It's a ball out to the forwards. Derek Mayar looking for space. Tackled, was looking to unleash the ball. Not releasing the ball. Nondi's winning that particular interplay. Mabwa attempted to get a quick one. And just rewards by Steve Odhiambo, who has been very stellar in the breakdowns. Fielden Sine with a thumping kick back to the Impala 22. Nondis with a chance to try and string something earlier on within the second half. Ball goes up, comes back down. Looks almost to have been illegally shrugged off the hands of Nondis. Ian Mabwa eventually gets sight of the ball. Branson almost missing out on controlling the ball. Still has it, driving. Keeping the Impala defense guessing. Ian Mabwa, Eric Okoma, Eric Shimoli busts through. The ball goes back. He's guilty of perhaps overpassing Levis Ochieng. Getting over, Dondi still the ball possession. Ian Mabwa's shirt looks like came off from the laundry at the halftime interval. Francis Mutuku getting in. Ball not coming out as fast as Ian Mabwa would have wished. Eric Shimoli tackled into touch. Great defense there by Impala. And turning over the ball, this will be the line-out throw-in. Ball punted down. It's a slugfest down there. Impala look to be the ones who in control of the ball currently. Samson Onsomo just looking at his options. Gets it back to Kwemoi. There is a claim that he shouldn't have passed past the 20-meter line. Indeed, the assistant referee agrees so. That should be a Nondi's throw. A much more positive start by Nondis in the second half. 3 points still separating both teams. Impala definitely muscling it out in the forwards in the first half and showing a lot more fluidity in the back line as well. Nondis still trying to get a bit of something on their groove. Francis Mutuku throws the ball into the hands of Brian Sine. Nondis looks to be well set. They're moving on forward, isolating Samson Onsomo on one side. Need to shuffle the ball back quickly. Indeed they do. They look to have actually set this up quite well. Impala struggling to try and defend this one. Bodies all over. Mabwa picking out Gitau. Gitau not having any momentum to pick up something on his pace. Mabwa getting the ball out again to Sine Brian. Mabwa's shot still remaining very clean. Just choosing which battles to get into. Mabwa letting go to the blind side again. Nondi's not making much progress. And Impala diving over. The referee called it unplayable and it'll be Impala ball. Nondi's just not being able to get anything fluid. Little dynamism in the ball carrying ability.
True indeed, Hilary, and that will have to change with about 35 minutes to play in the second half. There is all to play for. 3 points separating the two sides. Will it be Nondis? Will it be Impala running off with the result? Nondis have started this second half a lot stronger, but it is Impala still holding fort, holding the lead, 12-9.
Samson Onsomo eventually gets a ball in, and Nondis trying to make it uncomfortable for Impala. Not getting much success at that. Kwemoi stretches out to Oliech, and Nondis pick the ball, and Safari in with a try. Nondis picking up on a loose ball. Try good. Game on. Nondis 14, Impala 12.
The first try of the game, and they retake the lead off that costly error from Sami Oliech. He was unable to field that ball. Safari, hawk-eyed, raced clear once he claimed that ball. He was going to make no mistake. 14-12 with the conversion to come.
That's called a typical poacher's try. Safari pouncing up on a ball, angling it out, driving up. Try good for Nondis, and definitely showing the positive start that they've had in the second half. Field and Sine with a chance to add the extra 2 points. Sine already with 2 penalties, 1 drop kick. Will he be able to also go around and score via conversion, which is actually all the ways you can score via kicking in rugby?
True, and regardless of whatever the final score will be, I think the way Nondis have shown up today has been typical of their performances throughout the season. Field and Sine was sure that conversion to take the score to 16-12, but back to what I was saying, Nondis have been rather consistent, hungry in the way they've been playing this season.
Has been an interesting side to watch, considering the tough times they've been having over the past decade or sorts. But they seem to actually be on the right trajectory, and they've picked up the right players at the right time. Players such as Steve Odhiambo, Moses Begi, definitely showing that they actually are the future of the team, and also like the younger players to actually also feel for themselves. In Ian Mabo, for instance, one to watch for the future. Mark Kwemoi with the restart.
And you just feel that should this Nondis team stay together for another 3 or 4 years, they should be contenders for the big prize of Kenyan rugby. For now, they're just looking to work their way back into dominance. Mark Kwemoi, of course, with that restart. Nondis claiming the ball and looking to surge forward again. They are playing with their tails up after that poacher's try from Safari. They hold a 4-point lead. We have 32 minutes to play. There is definitely a lot to look forward to in the second half. This is Ian Mabwa. Field and Sine with that kick over the Impala defense. The ball claimed by Steve Sharma. That looks to be high. Is Constant Cap going to reach into his pocket? We have seen almost zero tolerance for those sorts of attempts.
Looks like Constant Cap was playing the early advantage by Nondis, but Safari there needs to be very careful, very, very careful. That would have actually reversed the advantage that they had. You can see Sharma just giving him murderer's eyes there. Needs to calm down. I know the adrenaline must still be pumping and rushing in his bloodstream after that try, but often get to see this in a game where a team that has been having dominance just losing out on it because of silly disciplinary issues. There looks to be a substitution. The referee is asking who is ideally meant to be getting onto the field of play. There's a shirt, jersey 18 coming onto the field of play. It looks like Eric Kere with jersey number 5 is on who's leaving the field of play. Kere has been, it's actually Eric Kopondo's coming to replace Kere. Eric for Eric. Kere by his own standards has been quite silent. And Steve Odhiambo picking the ball through, driving through Elkins Musonye. Ian Mabwa to Mutuku to Brian Sine. Sine drives in and picks in 3 defenders. Mabwa. Nondis getting live by Eric Okoma, isolated. Some of the Nondis players need to get in then he's been held up. Doesn't look like he's coming. Mark Kwemoi was the man who got in there. Desperate ball surging out, knocked on. It'll be an Impala scrum put in. Eric Okoma just managed to isolate himself quite simply.
And you wouldn't want to do that when you're in possession, when you're in the lead, and when you have the momentum, but it is easy to speak from the vantage point of commentary. It's a lot more difficult when you're out there on the pitch, toughing it out against 15 men in red shirts who are out to curtail your every movement. Samson Onsomu, Kenya international, captaining this side. One club man has played for Impala all through. And the Saracens are penalized.
It looks to be that Obino was not bound. And the referee definitely caught that illegal scrummaging. And Sine would do as you expect, as for the tee, and try and create a bit more distance between Nondis and Impala on the scoreline. Sine takes his time, looks up. This looks to be a little bit more straightforward for him. And the kick is good. The flags go up. Nondis extending the lead 19 points to 12. Field and Sine. Nondis with 10 points in the last 11 minutes of this half. And Impala still yet to claw on anything after a very strong finish of the first half. Mark Wemoy with the restart for Impala. Impala just haven't been able to get the rhythm that they had toward the last 20 minutes of the first half. The ball gets into the Nondis territory and they play it. Impala were guilty of a bit of ball watching. Their ball has just been thrown out into the wild by Nondis. I don't know why. The referee calls for a scrum put in. It's a bit more control required by Nondis. Impala have shown time and time again that they have the ability to just snap up and score from nothing. Ian Mabwa not in any rush to get there. Eventually slowly makes his way there. The ball in hand. Dominant shoving by Impala comes back into play. Steve Odhiambo knocked the ball in. So it'll be another scrum put in for Impala. Nondis just lost out on the concentration. Perhaps the changes bring in Darunga for Shimoli. May have just disjointed the scrummaging that had almost stabilized over the last 10 minutes. And on this occasion, it's Samson Onsomo to put the ball in. Easily done for Impala. Pops up, the referee doesn't believe that was table, so it'll be reset. Samson Onsomo with the ball in hand. Easily picks it out despite the close attention by Ian Mabwa. Samson Onsomo does not keep the ball into hand. Loses it out. And a double knock on should be a scrum put in for Nondis. And Onsomo just remonstrating. He's trying to ask a couple of questions of his teammate Samson. And you can see Samuel Elliott just telling him, calm down, calm down. Onsomo just looking like he's had enough already.
Seven points separating the two sides, 25 minutes to play. Will it be Nondis? Will it be Impala running off with the result? Remember earlier on in the 2 p.m. kickoff, we saw Kenya Harlequin pull off a 36-21 win over Nakuru. And as it so stands here, it is Nondis with a 19-12 lead over Impala. Steve Odhiambo once again breaking from the base of the scrum. Sets up that platform, the ball eventually with Field and Sene. Beautiful left-footed kick downfield. It's fielded by one of the replacements. There was an infringement. was Bradley Ochieng on as a second half substitute. Seemed to have been upended by a Nondi's player. Penalty advantage to Impala.
I'm not too sure why Impala are not trying to get a chance at 3 points. We do know very well that Quinto Ongo and Samuel Oliech can't kick for range, but they like to go for the line out, perhaps maybe a testament of the fact that they believe they've got stronger forwards.
And from that penalty kick from Samuel Oliech, Impala inching closer into Nondi's territory. The line out throw is short. Was awkwardly taken by Edwin Gatungo. The contest on the floor is open. Advantages with Nondi's. Mabua with the delivery. The ball is booted high and deep downfield. It is claimed by Bradley Ochieng. Richard Sidindi now in possession. He looks up, plays that ball out wide. Wasn't the best of passes. Samuel Oliech demonstrating there as he is unable to field the ball. You know, the thing with Samuel Oliech, you can't tell whether he's happy or sad because he's ever smiling. That's a very difficult person to deal with.
Well, they say that that's the sort of demeanor you'd get from any assassin. Not too certain when he's about to pull the trigger until long after, and you're at a funeral getting lower down.
Bradley Ochieng has seen a lot of action since coming on as a replacement for Quinto Ongo. And Impala ceding the territory that they had gained, being let down by a lot of unforced errors as we're heading into the final 20 minutes of this match. Francis Mutuku with the line out throw. Has been a key cog of this Nondi's machine since his move from Cabras Sugar a few seasons ago. This is Elkins Musonye just making his presence felt there in the mall.
And you could actually see that hit by Musonye, taking that mall a bit of yards back. Sine, speculative punt into the air, not so sure whether that was meant to be a drop kick. But it looks like he was milking out on a penalty advantage. The whistle has come through. So yet another chance for him to either try out to 3 points or get it to the corner for a line out. It looks like he's trying his luck out in the corner. Samson Onsomu, very animated, not looking quite pleased.
Well, you have to give it to Fielden Sine. He has run this game with the authority of an MC at a land buying company. We will not name names.
I would probably say he looks like the chairman of my village cattle dip committee. Very conscientious and true to the cause. We've not had any ticks in the last 3 years.
Indeed.
Back to the game though. Francis Mutuku with a line out throw in for Nondis. Nondis have just not been able to successfully execute any of their rolling balls that have been quite potent in previous matches. Almost perhaps a sign that teams could have prepared on that particular facet and left them exposed. Brad Sinei losing out on the ball at the back. The two brothers in the red and the blue skull caps almost colliding on heads. Mabua getting out to Levis Ochieng. Levis Ochieng does well, defends himself, breaks through the first, draws in 3 defenders, gets the ball out. Mabua gets the ball out to Oyando. Oyando always just has his knack of running into the forwards. Mabua again. Steve Odhiambo doing very well. Slowly grinding through, but not really gaining any meters. The Impala defense quite resolute, as their name is Resolution Impala. And that looks to be turned over. Elkins Musonye definitely over it. Mabua just knocking onto Sinei. Mabua does well, takes care of himself, presents the ball. Ball still on Nondi's side. Hizo Cheng wasn't too certain whether that ball was coming out, but does well, drives back in. Pile of humanity down on the deck. Energy sapping action. Francis Mutuku. Mabua now wiggles himself up. Nondi's trying to create a rolling maul from the base of the rack. Not an easy feat. Always easier to create a rolling maul from a line out as opposed to the base of rack. Mabwa Sine gets it to a rampaging runner. It's Brian Amaita. Does well, Shrugs was fast in the second defender. Ball free for Mabwa. Ian Jenga. Mabwa getting the ball back out. Steve Otieno Steve Odhiambo losing his footing, but still managed to get the ball out. Mabwa getting the ball out. Steve Otieno. Oh no, he gets run out. And great tackle there by Samson Onsomu, just showing awareness. Might not be the biggest man on the pitch, but definitely has a heart that's as big as a dragon.
Definitely great poise, great character from Samson Onsomu as Nondis just continue asking questions of Impala. 19 minutes to play here at the Rfuea ground. Remember, we are back with live rugby broadcasts on Bamba Sport after a 4-week break for the festive season, and it is Nondis leading Impala by 19 points to 12.
Impala still stuck within their territory. 18 minutes left on the clock as per our timekeeper. Samson Onsomu not in any hurry. Almost loses the balls out. Samuel Oliech is trying to give a piece of his action. Steve Otieno getting in. Richard Sidindi has got one man out, gets tackled. Looking a bit more promising by Impala. Nondis need to be a bit more careful. He's losing their footing in the racks. Impala looking quite revived. Sidindi damming one and a second, almost pulling through Francis Mutuku with a tackle eventually. Onsomu. Tackles flying left, right and center. Bodies flailing, not keeping his feet. He's got to be careful, and that is a penalty to Nondis. After all the hard work by Impala, Levis Ochieng, that man, you can see what that took out of him, just winning the ball, and all that comes to a naught. And Ian Mabwa just telling guys, calm down. We've got the Chief Sine to take us back to the promised land. Sine doesn't kick too far. Probably only took them to the Red Sea.
Now crossing over to the other side will be up to their determination and persistence. Can they do that within 17 minutes, or will they allow Impala back into the game? 7 points separating the two sides as we head into the business end of this match. These are the teams in third and fourth on the log. Actually, the teams in third and fifth on the log facing off against each other here at the Rfuea ground. Francis Mutuku will be looking to target Brian Sine. Sine was at the back of that line out. The ball is claimed by Eric Kopondo, younger brother of former Kenya Simbas captain Wilson. This is Elkins Msonye, hard running from the Kenya back row. Onsomu, Kwemoi. This is Samuel Liech. Finally some good ball from him out to Quinto Ongo. Kwemoi once again to Onsomu. The pass is short to Tyson Okoth. There was a knock on there in the tackle, but referee Constant Cap is playing the advantage. Penalty quickly taken by Paul Mutsami. The tackle looked to be high, but Constant Cap has not moved from his spot, so everything that the players have done over the past few seconds was in naught. You must listen to the instructions of Constant Cap. And you can see from the body language, Samson Onsomu just instructing his charges to go for the 3 points. Obviously the penalty coming in front of the sticks. Quinto Ongo just waiting for the tee to be delivered by one of their team managers there, Victor Ochieng. Conditions a lot more cooler than they were during the 2 p.m. kickoff. Probably thinking that this has contributed to the fluidity of the game. A lot less errors. Quinto Ongo cuts a figure of concentration, as does Fielden Sinoi behind the post, standing like an obedient student. as Ongo drills that one over the sticks, cutting the deficit to 4 points. Current scores 19-15 with 15 minutes to play here at the Rfuea ground.
Squeaky bum time for these both teams. Has been a much more fluid second half. Not as many points compared to the first half, but Nondi is definitely rising to the occasion, piling up 10 points earlier on. And Impala just beginning to get their groove. And we did actually see this when Impala played against Mean Machine in December. 19 tied all, literally at the last minute, Impala just piling up wave and wave of attack from deep in the 22, getting the 3 points and winning that on 22-19. Almost feels like it's deja vu, but 15 minutes will be the telling time. Samson Onsomu taking his time, eventually placing the ball into the scrum. Nondis with the counter shove. Ian Mabwa, managing to arrest Steve Sharma. Played alongside each other, so definitely know each other's frailties. The referee playing advantage. Queen Tuongo niggling up and about, eventually going to deck. Impala retaining the ball possession. Onsomu. Impala looking revived. Almost feels as though Impala plays in bursts of speed, and Samuel Liech getting the ball, but Francis, no, that's Gitau, gets a ball out. Begi, who's been quiet in this half, managing to do the first deed of the day. I don't recall him being busy or being put to task.
True indeed, he has been rather quiet, no pressure for him. Has probably just been joining to add his weight to the mauls and wherever he's needed. That ball eventually booted out. Is a line out throw for Nondis. 4 points separating these two teams, 12 minutes to play. We have rugby action across the country. At the KCB Sports Club, it is KCB playing against Mean Machine. Over in Kakamega, Kabras Sugar playing against the Menengai Oilers. Over at the Jamhuri Park, it is Homeboys versus Black Blood. While at the Strathmore grounds, it is the Strathmore Leos taking on Mwamba RFC. The early kickoff this afternoon saw Queens defeat Nakuru by 36 points to 21. And this is the 6th match on the card, Nondis and Impala. 11 minutes to play, 19-15 in favor of Nondis, who are in the white strip. Impala in the red shirts and white shorts.
Massive counter shot from Impala. It's trying to create all sorts of problems for Nondis. It's unplayable, ball turned over. So it comes out pretty much right for Impala eventually. Little under 11 minutes still left on the clock. Nondis, this is when they really need to show their level of maturity, patience, and zest. So the field of play is arguably perhaps the oldest man on the pitch, number 23 shirt for Impala, Onsongo Nyamwaya, the tender age of 38, still playing. Scrum not well set, so the referee will have a little bit of a chat with both set of front rows to try and get them to listen to what his philosophy is on scrummaging. But it is Impala looking a bit more excitable, keen on trying to quickly whisk something out of this one. Samson Onsomu gets the ball into the scrum, picks it out. Kwemoi gets the ball to Oliech, almost breaks through, They say the ball was actually passed forward, so that will be a Nondis put in. But that man, Moses Begi, was there to ensure that the tackle was completed. And Nondis definitely risking it. Kwemoe looks forward from that angle on the replay. And Yolich, you can see the cheeky look on his face, perhaps believes that that should have been let to ride. So Ian Mabwa with the scrum put in for Nondis. You'd anticipate that they'll actually punt this back all the way down to deep into Impala's territory. Under 9 minutes left on the clock. Impala looking quite revived. Could be anyone's game. All still left to play for in this one. Steve Odhiambo trying to get out, but easily covered by Samson Onsomu. Nondis piling in bodies, and Impala doing the same thing as well. Sine managing to get a bit of space. Ball bounces. Hefty handoff, and Impala scattering all the way. Easily covered by Levis Ochieng. And Nondis recovering. Nondis will be breathing a sigh of relief there. Almost got a feeling that if the run was allowed to go all the way, that should have been a try. 22 dropout after the step and the handoff. Super solid handoff. The world had opened up and should have actually just gone. Even had men on his left and right shoulders. It will be a 22 dropout for Nondis, who are not in any hurry whatsoever. You can see the apprehensive faces. Less than 9 minutes left on the clock. Nondis with a very slender advantage. Impala on the uprise. Who will it win? Who will win this game? Who will it take to win this one? I don't have the answer. But the guys on the pitch definitely are keen to live up that drama. Richard Sidindi with a kick across. Picks it up somehow. Pass it to Samson Onsomu. Impala. Onsomu. Tackle coming from Oyando. Try saving tackle from Brian Oyando. Oyando being asked to roll away. Doesn't seem able to do so.
Impala looking to close this game on a high, and that was some brilliant interplay between Samson Onsomu and Richard Sidindi. Sidindi with that. Let's just see that. Onsomu racing close to the try line. That was a desperate tackle that just curtailed his momentum.
Well, Brian Oyando lucky not to get a yellow card. Has been spoken to. You can see him with the dirty jersey. For a moment there, I thought that he was going to go to the naughty boys seat for a moment to introspect.
This match is proving to be a thriller a minute. Both teams fighting right up to the final minute. We have 6 of those remaining here. 4 points separating the two sides. One side sits third on the log. One side sits fifth. Obviously, that is going to change following today's result, which is yet to be decided. Samson Onsomu with the scrum put in. This has to be a big scrum for Impala. Remember, they need an unconverted try and to defend with their lives to claim this result. This is Makwemoe. The inside pass to Quinto Ongo. The tackle coming through from Nondis. Ongo, has he presented that ball? Yes, he has. Onsomu just marshalling his troops. He gets clean ball, plays it to Tyson Okoth. Tyson Okoth has been a battering ram for Impala this season. Former Kenya Under-20 captain has been useful with his ball carries. Kwemoe with the pass to Richard Sidindi.
Try good. Impala 20. Try seems to be good.
And that was a brilliant interplay from Impala. Richard Sidindi has been influential for the Saracens over the last 10 minutes and getting a just reward there. Let's just see that again. That pass looked to have traveled forward, but wasn't caught by the referee.
I believe that's what the referee did, because you notice before he called for the try, he walked up to the far side, came back and actually gave it. Probably also caught in two minds as to whether that was actually traveling forward or not. But try good. Impala eventually getting just dividends for their hard work. Impala now on 20, Nondis 19.
And what do we call Impala this season? Do we call them Houdini? Because they've done this time and again, pulling off a trick from the bags when you think they're down and out.
I think they just love a lot of tension, and perhaps have been, stocking up on adrenaline, because this seems to be happening over and over again. But like I said earlier on in the first half, building a culture of winning allows you to go around and take your chances, and perhaps also on the odd occasion become a little bit risky. Chance to add the extra 2 points from the far side. Conversion not successful. Scores remain Impala 20, Nondis 19. Less than 5 minutes left on the clock. Still anyone's game at this juncture.
Crowd is rather sedate here at the Rfuea ground. 2.5 minutes remain. Impala with the narrowest of leads against the Nondis side, who have given their best but finding themselves trailing.
Sine with a great kickoff. Hang time allows his teammates get in there. Brian Oyando with a tackle again. And looks to be whistle from the referee for some reason. Not too sure why. It looks like there's a call for points. Will Sine take the points or go for the line out? Nondis have not been successful on their drive. Sine looks like he's keen on trying to get the points. He's pointed to the post. He's already made the call.
This is within striking range for Filden Sine. Could this be the final say on this game? It has been a drama-filled match. Drama in the sense of the action that we have witnessed on the pitch. You have to give it to both teams in terms of their disciplines. No cards. It has all been about the rugby this afternoon. A good game of rugby. I'm sure the fans have gotten their money's worth, regardless of the result.
The man of the moment, cometh the man, cometh there. Filden Sine, the engineer. Strikes it, but it goes out wide. Not successful. Impala will be heaving a sigh of relief. And Nondis look to have gone over somehow. The referee is consulting on the far side. It'll be a 22 dropout, no try. The drama continues.
Our picture there, James Njenga. We saw him sell an outrageous dummy early on in the match between Queens and Nakuru. He ended up on the losing side, but his team definitely produced some sparkling moments. There was that try, that collabo between Ominde and
kick late from the hit. That's a penalty again for Nondis. Brian Oyando was hit late. And the referee might be consulting. There might be a card coming out, just trying to confirm if there's anything cynical. Impala might be reduced if there's a recommendation for a card. Referee gets a time back on. It looks like it'll just be a penalty for Nondis at this juncture. You can see that after Brandon hit the ball up into the air, an unnecessary hit. That's the reason why there's a penalty for Nondis. And looks like Sine will be asking for yet another chance at the 3 points. A much easier position. Sine heaving himself, calming himself down, looking up, looking down. He's knocked a couple of this earlier on in the match. We have the 80-minute mark. Sine kicks it. This one is through. Points are through. Nondis 22, Impala 20. Sine successfully the kick. And the bleachers are rapturing out in applause.
The drama continues here at the Rfuea ground. This match probably will only be decided by the final whistle, because Impala still have a few seconds of the referee's time to give a response, and whatever response they give will win the game should they get points. This is Samuel Yech with the high and hanging kick. It is claimed there.
Steve Odhiambo, rather, I beg your pardon. Picks it up. Nondi is not in any rush whatsoever to get the ball out. It gets punted eventually by Sine. Looks like it was a straight out, was it? My goodness. Lack of awareness, just being a bit lackadaisical. And yes, Impala back on the rampage. The drama continues. You can see the coach there, Willie Sojal.
You don't want to know what's going through his head.
Biting his lips, almost chewing them off.
That is definitely not a calm and collected figure, despite his composure there on our screens. Obviously just waiting for the final whistle. This line out will be pivotal for Impala. It is claimed there by Kelvin Kimutai Rono. Xavier bet on for Samson Onsomu.
The man they call X, with the X factor.
This is Kopondo, Eric Kopondo. There's X once again, plays it to Tyson Okoth.
This is where discipline has to come into play. You can see X looking up, trying to see if there's a box kick or whether there can be a drop kick. He's giving it to Oliech. Oliech dummies, gets caught up, almost driven into the ground.
This bet looks left, right, decides to stretch play to the left, and that is Tyson Okoth. Numbers once again arriving. Bet crucial to Impala's intentions at this point of the match. Kelvin Rono, former USIU and KCB prop. Ball is played out wide to
Ishmael Mokai, former Nondis man, actually playing against a team that he played for 7 seasons.
So it's quite interesting here as we head into virtually the last moments of play. Can Nondis hold on for the win? Can Impala steal it right at the death? Everything going Impala's way in terms of possession and territory. That is Oliech with the pass to Kopondo. It looked to have traveled forward. It is kept alive by Bradley Ocheng. Constant cap, caught that, and that is a full-time whistle.
Full-time, Nondis win 20-20. Nondis win 22 points to 20. A pulsating match and quite exciting, Michael. How about that for drama?
Talk about it. This was drama right from minute 1 to minute 80. Impala just thought they were going to shade it 2019, conceding an unnecessary penalty. Filden Sune had 2 stabs at penalties. One was successful, one was crucial, getting the points for Nondis 20-20, and Nondis to the new season continues.
The man in your picture there, Levis Ocheng, one of the workhorses, alongside, of course, Filden Sine. You wouldn't be able to give the narrative of this game without a mention of Filden Sine. On your scores, on the screen there, the scores. Full time, Impala 20, Nondis 22, the Lion mauls the Impala. Some highlights from the second half there. Safari, after scoring his try, just very lucky to stay on the field of play. And you could see the level of concern on his face. And that's one of the many kicks that the man Filden Sine slotted in today. He managed to score using each and every available kicking option to score in rugby. He scored a conversion. He scored 4 penalties actually, and 1 drop kick.
And he's had a rather stellar day on the field of play, just missing 1 penalty this afternoon. And what a way to make your first start of the season. And should he be available this season, Nondis is definitely not a team to play around with. Impala did have their chances, unable to utilize them. You could see the anxiety in the stands. Samuel Oliech unable there to field that, the ball and possession heading out of their reach. This was Bradley Ocheng. Just have to question why he kicked away possession when he had Filden Sine to beat. But they say the ball carrier is always right, and that coming after that. And this was Samson Onsomu, stopped inches short of the try line. But moments later, Richard Sidindi would give Impala the go-ahead try. 2019 at this point of the game. Before this happened, Impala were penalized not once but twice. And at the second stab, Phil Densine with that match-winning penalty, and moments later the game would end 20-20, a fourth win for Nondis from 6 outings. And that is a second loss in succession for Impala Saracens. It will be interesting to see the log this evening and the rest of the results as they trickle in. Impala players dejected, in disbelief. See Mark Kwemoy being consoled by Kelvin Kimutai.
All right, 80 minutes are over, and it's been a scintillating game of rugby here at the Rfuea grounds. Nondis nicking it 22-20 against Impala Saracens. What a game we've had last few minutes. Drama, filled with drama. We'd like to talk with the coach of Impala Saracens, Coach Frank. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
But not a very good start with the results, that is. But what do you make of the game?
Good game of rugby. Unfortunately, the results didn't go away this time. Yes.
You went into the lead at half-time, came back, added points as well, but then at the very end, it was, back and forth, back and forth. What do you make that down to?
We were really indisciplined today, and Nondis took advantage. The penalties we conceded, Nondis got points off those, and in a tight game like this, your discipline must be up there.
Now this is 2 losses in a row for you after first 4 wins. What are you working on for the upcoming games right now from the performances you've seen from your boys?
A win is a must. We must win because we can't play catch up with the league leaders. So we must go back, regroup. These kind of games either make or break you. It should make us.
After disappointing results, you'll take the bonus point as well.
For now, our bonus point is good, but 4 points or 5 would have been better.
Better, definitely. All right, good luck with the rest of the matches. All right, that was Impala Saracens coach Frank Dong. We'd like to talk with the winning coach, Coach Willis of Nondis. What a game. Coach, karibu sana. Happy New Year. What a way to start off.
Yes. We came here on a mission. 2 losses towards the end of the year made us go back to the drawing board and rethink what was working, what wasn't working, and the fact that obviously all our games are on TV, all our opponents have watched us and knew what we were going to do, so we had to start afresh again for the year.
You got a little bit of a bump in the last game, losing, but coming back strong. What are some of the things you've worked on during the break as well?
So one of the things is just going back to the basics and playing as a team, playing for one another, and ensuring that we do not panic. Because you noticed in the first half, the first 19 minutes, we were camping on their side, and we didn't come out with a try. So we just said, just be patient and believe in the system that we put into place.
Talking about believing, you guys believe on your kicker, and it's paying off right now. I mean, these are things you're training you're training the players during.
Yeah, those are. As I think we've had this discussion with you as well. There's a time I think we're playing at KCB and all the points were not going in, and we said we had to work on our kicks, and that was the difference today. We said you could see all the players knew when we get to a certain area, we have to come out with the points.
All right, congratulations, Coach. Cheers. All the best in the upcoming matches. That was the second game of the day, live and free on Bamba Sport. Nondis taking this one, and of course Queens winning the earlier game that was live at 2 p.m. Fixtures are coming thick and fast on Bamba Sport. Stay tuned until next Saturday. Until then, keep it sporty.